Oh, college student, angry enough, this grandson robbed your woman? Flower-shirt water elder brother hears Suhao this words, can't help but aim at him one eye, then ponder to smile away. He not only robbed my woman, but also made me lose myself in front of everyone in the school. Suhao gritted his teeth and looked angry. He grabbed the wine glass on the table and took a sip of it. That's miserable enough. Flower-shirt water elder brother heard this, shrugged, sympathized to see Suhao one eye. In fact, he and Suhao are high school classmates, but Suhao's grades are good, but his grades are poor. After graduating from high school, Suhao was admitted to Yenhua University, and he became a gangster in the street, following all kinds of people around. Suhao has not always looked up to him. And he knows that Suhao is the one who loves face most. However, now, the goods invite him to eat and drink, which he didn't like in the past. Moreover, he is so humiliated in front of all the students in the school. Even the girls he likes are robbed. It's not good enough. Water elder brother, as long as you are willing to help me, everything is easy to say. After a mouthful of wine, Suhao's eyes were red with blood. He grabbed brother Shui's arm and prayed. Don't worry, it's up to me. Flower-shirt water brother took a glass of wine, Ziliue, after sipping, full of confidence. Thank you brother Shui, thank you brother Shui. When Suhao heard this, he looked at the flower-shirt water elder brother and said thank you again and again. Then if he thought of something, he hastened to tell him, however, there is something I have to tell water elder brother in advance. The boy I told you is especially good at fighting. A guy in our school's martial arts club can fight back and forth with field instructors during military training. 3 or 5 people can't get close to him, which is very difficult. I can fight, but when I get to him, I can't even move. Don't worry, little boy, wait for my good news. Flower-shirt water elder brother full face of don't care, see that appearance, as if even if Tian is 10 people can't close to him, also don't calculate anything at all. Besides, brother Shui, are you sure you'll get rid of that boy and not cause me any trouble? I'm going to graduate soon, and I want to finish my studies in Yenhua University. What about my diploma? When Suhao saw him like this, he was even more relieved. He followed him with a smile on his face. That looks like a typical thief, but not so brave. Don't worry, there's someone behind him, let alone beat him into a fool. Even if you play him to death, it won't be good. Have you ever heard of the Li family in Yanjing? They are the backers of their friends. With this big Buddha, big things are small things. Flower-shirt water brother shrugged his shoulders and said with a smile. Li family. Suhao hissed and took a breath of air conditioning. If you're from Yanjing, who hasn't heard of the famous Li family in the capital? He really didn't expect that brother Shui, who had been looked down upon by himself in the past and had never studied in university, now had a big leg with the Li family in Yanjing. Suhao, there are many things in the world that you can't do if you study well. Hua Shuij was obviously satisfied with the shock on Suhao's face. After a light smile, he patted Suhao on the shoulder and said with a smile. Yes, it's. Suhao nodded his head again and again, but in his eyes, he was awe-inspiring. Since, water elder brother, this guy nearby Li family's big thick leg, that tidies up Leaf Day, is not to capture by hand. After all, even if Tian is a strong dragon from the South China Sea, in Yanjing City, it's a dragon that has to be honest. How to clean it up? He felt as if he had already seen that Tian was beaten by brother Shui with a group of people, and there was no way to survive. Finally, he became a big fool with crooked eyes. Xiao Yuer didn't even want to look at it. Drink enough wine, go to help our college students have a good bad breath. Brother Hua Shui looks at Suhao and feels proud. He is very comfortable. He waves his hand and laughs. Everyone is free to eat and drink, and I'll pay for all the expenses. When things are done, I'll take you to have fun. Seeing this, Suhao arched his hand at the crowd with a smile, and quickly got up to help these gangsters fill up the wine. For a moment, the sound of drinking, shouting in the box. You have been in Yanjing for quite a long time. Have you heard of the Li family in Yanjing? At this time, Tian, led by Xiao Yuer, turns around the campus of Yenhua University, looks at her and inquires. Yi Tian has always kept in mind Li Fanyuan's coveting of Qin Luoshan and what he has done. It's just that in the past, it was too much trouble to come to the capital, so he let the boy be happy for a few days. But now, since he has come to Yanjing, naturally, Li Fanyuan can no longer be so happy. The Li family, of course. How many people in the capital have never heard of the Li family in Yanjing? Xiao Yuer nodded with a smile, and then said, and Li Fanyuan, who is also a student of Yanhua University, is 2 times higher than me. She is a senior this year and will graduate soon. She is not very good at school. That guy, when he was in school, was a real disaster. I don't know how many girls were spoiled by him. He even had my idea, but after I cleaned up, I didn't have that idea. So, Li Fanyuan is really not a thing. Hearing this, Yi Tian nodded and sneered. When he thought of such a rubbish, he wanted to force Qin Luoshan into submission. His heart was so angry that he felt the impulse to slap him in the ground. Not only is he not a thing, he is not a thing at all. Xiao Yuer agrees, and then looks at Yi Tian suspiciously and says, Yi Tian, do you have a holiday with Li Fanyuan? She felt that Yi Tiangong's words seemed not only to fight against injustice, but also to have some angry attitude. It's not a holiday, it's a grudge. Yi Tian picks eyebrow to light a smile, then looking at Xiao Yuer, you don't worry, wait, I helped you out this evil spirit. Yi Tian, although I know you are very strong, I still advise you that you'd better not touch Li Fanyuan. He's not so good, but the Li family in Yanjing behind him is not easy to be provoked and has a lot of energy. In Yanhua University, there are many people who want to clean him up, but in the end, it's all over. Xiao Yuer hears Yi Tian's words, and her expression suddenly becomes solemn. She shakes her head toward Yi Tian solemnly, and persuades her. The Li family has a lot of energy, haha. When Yi Tian heard this, the playful smile on his face immediately became more brilliant. Xiao Yuer, they don't know what is the backing of the Li family in Yanjing, but he is very clear. To put it bluntly, isn't it Qingning sect, or Li Nuran, who is now the young leader of Qingning sect? This strength, others may be afraid of Yanjing Li family, but Yi Tian is really not afraid. Let alone a little master, even if Lu Bufan, the master of Qingning sect, is here, so what? He can still clean up. Yi Tian, how do I feel that you seem to know the Li family very well? Xiao Yuer looks at Yi Tian perplexedly. She is more and more sure that Yi Tian and Li's family must have a very deep holiday. However, she can't understand that Yi Tian has been in the South China Sea all the time. How can she have a feud with Li's family in Yanjing thousands of miles away? It's because of Qin Luo. Yan Bing looks at Yi Tian's appearance, moves in the heart, immediately guesses the answer, but immediately, the heart can't help but slightly bitter. Brother Shui, that's the boy. But at this time, along not far away, suddenly came a shout, followed by a group of drunk thugs, wobbly toward Yi Tian, 3 people around. This group of people, in addition to Su Hao's Feast of Flowers, Shirts, Water Brother and others, who can be? Tut tut, boy, you're a good woman. Look at the scenery, there are 2 beauties around water. Elder brother walks to Yi Tian's side, after the color memes Chao Yan Bing and Xiao Yuer take a look, looking at Yi Tian, playing the flavor, you this small body, 2 beauties waste with you, how about borrowing a companion elder brother? Boy, I heard what my boss said. Lend these 2 girls out to play with my boss. That is, you little body, 2 beauties you can't play, let one out, accompany our boss. Boy, let me tell you, it's not bad for you to give these 2 girls to my boss. On the contrary, it's good for you. At least, our brothers can give you a good time and make you collapse on the ground smoothly. Water elder brother words fall down, with a few small gangsters beside him, immediately pondering looking at Yi Tian, followed up, a face full of licentious smile. This group of people's words fall, Yan Bing and Xiao Yuer's face, immediately exposed a layer of frost color, but, they too, it is coincidentally, did not start to this group of little gangsters, but Chi Shushu's eyes cast to the side of Yi Tian, and the face is full of smile. Eyes fall, Yi Tian immediately feel, shoulder pressure mountain. Boy, how are you thinking? Which of these girls are you going to let out? However, if you want me to say that, you'd better honestly lend both to our boss. In this case, if they are comfortable with our boss, he can spare you when he is happy? That is, let both out. It's good for you, but not bad for you. I tell you, you are honest. These two girls are comfortable with our boss. Maybe the boss is in a good mood. Let them be your sister-in-law in the future. If you follow the boss, you will have a bright future. Little gangsters see Yen Bing and Xiao Yuer's expression, immediately at Yi Tian pick eyebrows, laughing repeatedly. You want to play, don't you? It's easy to say. Yi Tian hears the sound, a faint smile, toward the flower-shirted water elder brother pondered to see an eye, lightway, let me guess, is Suhao that grandson let you come to my trouble? Oh, boy, it's smart enough to guess. Flower-shirted water elder brother smell speech, intentionally show a surprised appearance, toward Yi Tian pick eyebrows. It's Su Hao. Yi Tian sneers, and he says that he has just come to his eyes. Whether it's Li Fanyuan of the Li family and Yin Jing or Han Xiaofeng of the Han family, neither of them should know the news that he has arrived in the capital. And these people, inside and outside the words, are all under the direction of others. Therefore, the only explanation is Su Hao. It seems that it is not enough to use your mouth to clean up people. Only when you slap your hands on your body, can you be honest? Don't talk so much nonsense. How are you thinking about it? If you lend these two girls to me, I can consider letting you off and have a good time. Flower-shirted water elder brother sneered too, then a face impatient looking at Leaf Day, Wei. Pa. Yi Tian didn't waste a word anymore. After hearing this, his hand was like lightning, and then he fell on the face of brother Shueihua. A series of crisp and incomparable slaps suddenly rang out. You damn. Brother Hua Shuwei was completely confused. He just felt that his face didn't belong to him now. In front of his eyes, Venus was rising, and his mouth was full of strong and sticky salty smell. As soon as he began to mumble 4 words, he felt that there were a lot of strange hard things in his mouth. Ba patter 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 patter. When he spat on the ground, he felt that his whole mouth became relaxed. Then, along the ground, there was a strange sound of stones falling to the ground. When he looked closely, he immediately saw that there were a lot of white lumps lying in the dark red blood foam on the ground, which was full of teeth in his mouth. This scene let flower-shirted water elder brother completely confused, open mouth want to say when, found that his mouth full of air leakage, word even said curiously strange, no way out. Don't say it's him, those little brothers who follow him are all in a circle. Although Su Hao has told them that Yi Tian is very good at fighting and has great skill, even if he killed them, they didn't expect that Yi Tian was so strong that it was inconceivable. Just now, the slap was as fast as lightning. Before they could react, they already slapped him dozens of times. What's more, the slap was not only quick, but also heavy and fierce. After throwing it on Brother Hua's face, even the back-slotted teeth were pulled down from the top of his teeth. Once the slap came down, all the teeth were gone. This terrible situation was not seen with my own eyes, who dares to believe it? Well, is it good enough? At this time, Yi Tian's mouth with a playful smile, aiming at the flower-shirted water brother, asked smilingly. Suddenly the tower. Flower-shirted water elder brother's face as Leaf Day this sentence to gas crooked, after a resentment, hand toward him a wave, to the younger brother's loud way. Boy, dare to make our boss, beat you to death. Xiaoya is very brave. She dares to beat our boss. Today, she will not only beat you into a fool, but also break your fingers one by one. Rubbish, let's show you our strength today. Flower-shirted water elder brother a sound falls down, within his sight of those little gangsters, can't help but say, then stride toward Yi Tian rushed in the past. As far as they want to come, Yi Tian may be strong, but as the saying goes, 2 fists are hard to beat 4 hands, and they will certainly have the upper hand. Even if 4 people come out to press Yi Tian's 2 arms, the rest of them can give this smelly boy a good look. Is it useful to have many people? Leaf Day pick eyebrow a smile, a step forward, hand casually swing a few times. Crackling, in an instant, the group of thugs who rushed towards him flew out one by one like broken line kites. After landing, they coughed wildly. Along the corner of their mouth, there was more blood spilling. Such a group of people, who are so fierce, just face-to-face kung fu, have lost their fighting power completely by Yi Tian. Flower-shirt water elder brother has been muddled, not only because his hands were all put down by Tian, but also because at this moment he had been numbed by Tian's face, and finally recovered consciousness. That kind of heart-piercing terrible pain, completely hit, just like his face, was stuffed with 10 million needles, pain. Well, do you feel better now? Tian bends down, grabs the head of brother Shuihua and kneels him on the ground. He raises 2 fingers and pinches brother Shuihua. He looks like a big afu with a red face. He smiles and says faintly, "Not happy." Flower-shirt water elder brother excited Ling to beat to shiver, flurried madly shake head. Pa pa. Tian heard the sound, raised his hand, was a fierce smoke, looking at him, light way, how, this time is not feeling happy? Grass, I am cool, your mother is cool. Flower-shirt water elder brother's cheek pain is about to tear, heart scold more than, think you this big silly lack, get so many slaps in the face, you say good or not, kind of words, you let me give you such a big try. Happy, happy. Just, in this case, he just dares to think about it in his heart. On the surface, he nods his head madly to Tian for fear that an answer is wrong and he will be beaten by Tian again. Cool. You're so cheap. It's all cool. Let's have a good time. Tian frowned and followed. Without hesitation, he raised his hand and slapped his face like a storm, which swept his cheek. In a twinkling, brother Hua's head had completely turned into a big pig's head. His cheeks were purple, and his skin was only a thin layer. His eyes were bulging high. I'm afraid that even if his mother came, he could not recognize her son. Well, did you feel good this time? Tian grabs the hair of brother Shui and looks down at him with a smile. Happy not happy big pot, please give me a good time. Flower-shirt water brother head has been completely confused, opened his mouth, can't say a word, finally, can't help, mouth a shriveled, unexpectedly is wrong like a child, a buttock sitting on the ground, sobbing and wailing. It's wrong to say anything. It's so fucking bullying. Since you want to have fun, it's easy. Tian hears the sound, looks at the flower-shirt, brother Shui smiles, and then slowly raises his hand. Flower-shirt water brother saw Tian's hand raised, people immediately completely wilted, paralyzed on the ground twitching, that called the tears into a river. Well, call Su Hao and let him come over. Tian looks at flower-shirt water elder brother miserable appearance, pick eyebrow a smile, put down the hand, light way. Big pot, you don't hit me? Flower-shirt water brother are used to playing, all of a sudden, Tian did not hit him, unexpectedly as some not adapt, dare not set channel. I don't mind giving you a few more if you want to have a good time. Leaf Day looking at the flower-shirt water elder brother pick eyebrow a smile, light way. No, I don't want it. Flower-shirt water elder brother repeatedly shook his head, then shrunk body, felt out the mobile phone, shivered to find out Su Hao's number, after dialing in the past, bared his teeth, said, college students, come to the lake, we clean up the boy, let's come to see his advice. Really, brother Shui, are you so quick? Okay, I'll be there in a minute. No, brother Shui, why is your voice so strange? When Su Hao received the phone call, he was so excited that he flew up. He answered in a hurry. Then he felt that there was something wrong with the voice of brother Washirishui. It seemed that he was full of wind. It sounded strange and strange. If you don't come, there's so much bullshit. Flower-shirt water elder brother coldly then put down the phone, followed closely, he looked at Tian with a flattering face, blurry, said, big pot, I just those words, not intentionally, don't say so, Su Hao that grandson certainly won't come over, you don't beat me. Well. Tian looks at the flattery and survival desire revealed in his swollen eyes. He can't help but want to laugh. After picking his eyebrows and nodding his head at will, he rolls to one side and quietly waits for Su Hao's arrival. Brother Shui knows Su Hao very well. Not long after that, Su Hao runs over with high spirits. He even has an SLR camera hanging around his neck. Looking at that, he obviously plans to take pictures of Tian's loss and humiliate him. However, Su Hao Gong ran over happily. When he saw that Tian was standing well, but brother Hua was black and blue. His head was as swollen as a pig's head. He knelt at Tian's feet and trembled all over. He was startled. He could not help but turn around and prepare to leave. "Grandson, if you wanna run, can you run?" Tian had expected this scene for a long time. With a smile and a flick of his finger, a small stone picked up from the ground, with a terrible sound, flew to Su Hao and hit him heavily on his knee. Click! Ah! Bang! With a terrible crack of bone, a terrible roar came from Su Hao's mouth, which was like killing a pig. After that, his whole body fell down on the ground and kept rolling in pain. "Go and bring him to me." Tian looks at Su Hao's appearance, aiming at a few thugs on the ground, a pick eyebrow, light way. Words fall, a few thugs immediately dogleg incomparable from the ground to get up, toward the collapse of Su Hao rushed to the ground, followed closely, he picked up from the ground, grabbed the collar, dragged him to the front of Tian. "Brother, we've brought this grandson for you. How do you plan to deal with him, break his hands and feet, or beat him into a fool?" A few thugs flatter looking at Tian, looking at Su Hao on the ground, the murderous hate way. At this moment, they hate Su Hao. If it wasn't for this grandson, how could they be picked up by Tian like this? However, it's not that they don't hate Tian. It's just that Tian's strength is too terrible. They dare not hate Tian. I'm sorry. I know I'm wrong. Please forgive me. Just let me go." When Su Hao sees this, he can't understand it. He promised himself that he could easily clean up Tian's shirt. Brother Shui has been thoroughly cleaned up by Tian. He immediately looks at Tian miserably, kneels on the ground, kowtows to him, and pleads with him. He knows that his life has fallen into Tian's hands. As long as Tian says something, these gangsters will definitely rush up like a vicious dog to clean him up and break his hands and feet. This is not a joke. Let you go? Let you go, let you wait and find a way, to find my trouble? When Tian heard Su Hao's words, he gently picked the tip of his brow and looked at him with a faint taste of playing. "No, I absolutely don't. Even if you lend me 100 courage, I don't dare." Su Hao immediately shook his head like a rattle, panicking. What he said is not just a joke, but from the bottom of his heart, the fate of brother Washirishui has sounded an alarm bell for him. Let him fully understand that he is no different from a clown in front of Tian, only the fate of being cleaned up. Find Tian's trouble again, then he thinks he has lived too long. Don't we have a camera with us? Come on, take a few good photos of him now. Tian didn't pay attention to Su Hao's request. He looked at the little gangster next to him and said faintly, "Now that we've decided to clean up Su Hao, we should make a good deal of it and let the boy have a good memory. He doesn't dare to move his mind in the future. If you let him go like this, I'm afraid that he's just afraid for a while, and he can't point out what kind of crooked trip he'll make in the future." No. When Su Hao heard that he wanted to take a picture, he immediately panicked and raised his hand to cover his face. Unfortunately, his speed is not as fast as those gangsters. After a click sound of the shutter, Su Hao kneels on the ground and looks panicked, which is branded in the memory of the camera. What's more, the camera sense of the little gangster who took photos was very good. A few photos showed Su Hao's fear incisively and vividly. "My face is too white. It's not good looking. I don't feel good on the camera. You guys, come and help Su Dishao add some ingredients on his face. More blood color will make him look good. Of course, if there were some other colors, it would not be as monotonous as it is now. However, I'm going to tell you that if you don't treat Su Dishao well, I'll help you to have a good time." Tian casually turned over a few times, and then shook his head. Toward those little gangsters came a light sentence. Crackling as soon as they heard the word happy, they saw brother Shuewa's face as round as amethyst. They didn't dare to hesitate. They quickly raised their hands to Su Hao's face. They beat him so hard that he fell to the ground and pulled him up again. Although these guys don't have Tian's ability, they have a lot of people and great strength. In a moment, brother Huashirishui was beaten so that his front teeth flew away. His eyes were black and blue. There were 2 long nosebleeds under his nose. His lips were also broken and bloody. It was called a flower whistle. It was terrible. It looks so much better. Let's leave a message for Su Dishao. Yi Tian stares at Su Hao's cheek, nods his head, and then looks at the little gangster who has good photography skills beside him. Words fall, the little gangster hurriedly holding the camera, facing Su Hao, is a series of shutter pressed, fixed in the camera. Su Hao, at this moment, where there is a little bit of the past glory of the style, instead, is lost. Even the street beggars are not as miserable. How about Su Hao? Do you feel happy now? Yi Tian takes the camera and takes a look at it. He pulls out the memory card and puts it in his pocket. He looks at Su Hao's cheek and smiles. Have you had a good time? Hear these 4 words, flower-shirted water brother seems to be suddenly hit by a strong current, the whole person on the ground crazy twitch, panic incomparable looking at Yi Tian, that look in the eyes, just like the weak little white sheep, see the big grey wolf. This is too powerful and terrible for him who has just suffered a lot. I'm happy. Su Hao was so scared that he shivered all over and nodded in a hurry for fear that he would annoy Yi Tian and suffer more pain. You can feel comfortable when you are beaten like this. It seems that you are a real bitch. Since you are so happy, go on. Yi Tian hears the sound and lightly raises the memory card in the palm of Yang's hand. He looks at the little gangster next to him. A few little hoodlums smell speech, dare not have a cent to hesitate, immediately rush up. To Su Hao is again a crazy hammer to beat. Yan Bing and Xiao Yuer can't help laughing at this scene. They really didn't expect that Yi Tian had such a bad side. No matter how Su Hao answered this question, it must be a fat beating waiting for him in the end. However, they have no sympathy for Su Hao. Just now those thugs speak very clearly, but Su Hao plans to let these people beat Yi Tian into a fool. It's just that I've lost a few games. I can see the evil of Su Hao. What's more, the shame after losing the game has nothing to do with Yi Tian. It's just Su Hao's fault. If he didn't admit it and try to discredit Yi Tian, he would not be despised and regarded as a laughingstock. This kind of black-hearted and vicious guy just needs to clean up, otherwise, he won't have a long memory. Beat to death you son of a bitch, not you this rubbish, how can I get into trouble with Big Brother? Not only those little gangsters, but also Brother Huashui is full of old fists towards Su Hao, venting his anger on him. At this moment, he really hated Su Hao. If it wasn't for this guy's instigation, how could he come to Yi Tian's trouble, how could he suffer from these terrible sufferings, and even less would he tremble madly in conditioned reflex when he heard the word happy. Yi Tian's skill is too strong. He doesn't even dare to have the idea of revenge. Naturally, he will pour out his anger to Su Hao. Brother Shui, you're a counselor. You're the virtue. You dare to say that the Li family in Yanjing is your backstage, and Li Fanyuan is your big brother. I don't think you're worthy of being a dog for Li Fanyuan. Su Hao was beaten to death, furious, roaring, taunting Brother Huashui. You dare say I'll kill you son of a bitch. It's good that he didn't say this. When he heard this, Brother Huashui felt humiliated to the extreme. He couldn't help but slap him in the face. Like a storm, he poured down on Su Hao's face and beat him black and blue. His head was almost as swollen as his own. Stop it, but at this time, the Leaf Day hears this words, Mao Light suddenly move, Chao Hua shirt water elder brother glanced an eye, light way. Big brother, what can I do for you? Flower shirt water elder brother smell sound, quickly stop hand, exciting Ling Ling hit a shiver, toward Yi Tian squeeze out of then cry also ugly smile, please weigh. Is what he just said true? Your backer is the Li family in Yanjing, and the eldest is Li Fanyuan? Yi Tian picks eyebrow, looking at flower shirt water elder brother, light way. He had just made up his mind that since he had come to the capital, Li Fanyuan, the grandson, should be taught a lesson and a look. However, he was not familiar with the capital. Although he wanted to clean up Li Fanyuan, he didn't know where the grandson was hiding. If Brother Huashui is really Li Fanyuan's younger brother, he just dozed off, and someone handed him a soft pillow. Aye. Flower shirt water brother heard, immediately prevaricate, face full of embarrassment. Obviously, he was just bragging when he said that he was backed by the Li family in Yanjing and Li Fanyuan's younger brother. Don't falter, say what you have, dare to lie, or dare to hide half a word, then continue to wait and have fun. I think Su Hao seems to be working hard. He really wants you to have a good time. Yi Tian has long expected that even if he knew Li Fangyuan, he would not get to know Li Fangyuan. However, he didn't intend to know Li Fangyuan too much, as long as he knew where he usually went. He plans to deal with the rest by himself. After all, no matter who is asked to do this kind of thing, they don't do it by themselves. Brother, I don't want to have a good time. I said everything. Flower-shirt water elder brother heard happy 2 words, immediately creepy, without thinking, then told the truth. It turns out that brother Huashui really knows Li Fangyuan, but the relationship between them is far less deep than that between elder brother and younger brother. This guy is the head of security in a nightclub opened by the Li family. Li Fangyuan is a very lecherous guy, so he often runs to nightclubs. In nightclubs, good and bad people are mixed up. Li Fangyuan likes to tease girls and often causes trouble. Most of the time, it's the goods that come out to help him beat people and wipe his ass. After so many years, they got to know each other. He was praised by Li Fangyuan for his ability. Therefore, he acquiesced that he was Li Fangyuan's younger brother. He often bragged about it outside and earned some face. To this day, he has kicked Yi Tian. What's the name of the nightclub? Does he often go there? Yi Tian nodded slightly, then looked at the flower-shirt water brother's eyes, light way. That nightclub is called Candy. It's very famous in Wollaton. Many stars will go there, so there are always beautiful girls to punch in. Li Xiao goes there almost every night. Flower-shirt water elder brother Floride, follow closely, he some doubts and blankly looked at Yi Tian. One eye, way, elder brother, you inquire about this why? I'm bored. I want to make your Li Xiao happy. How about that? Are you satisfied with this answer? The leaf day ponders a smile, looking at the flower-shirt water elder brother light way. A word falls, flower-shirt water elder brother whole person momentary dull, mouth open as hippo, can swallow a whole watermelon. Although, from Yi Tian's attitude of inquiring about these things, he realized that Yi Tian seemed to be hostile to Li Fangyuan, but he did not expect that Yi Tian really intended to make Li Fangyuan happy. Other people's happiness, it is really happy God, but this big brother's happiness, it is to human life. However, he really couldn't understand why Yi Tian had such courage to move Li Fangyuan of the Li family in Yanjing. You know, the Li family in Yanjing is very powerful and terrible in the capital, and Li Fangyuan is the successor appointed by the Li family. What's the difference between provoking such a big man and seeking death? Satisfied with I've been looking at Li Fangyuan for a long time. I want to teach him a lesson. Just, shock return to shock, spend shirt water elder brother eyeball sun bone Lu after turning, still flurried to nod, echo repeatedly. But, in his heart, he was thinking about it. After he left, he immediately went to find Li Fangyuan and told him about it. At that time, it would not only be a great achievement for Li Fangyuan to look up at himself, but also revenge himself with Li Fangyuan's hand. You're trying to give Li Fangyuan a tip-off. Take advantage of him to clean me up, and really climb up to the Li family by the way? But at this time, Yi Tian looks at the eyes of brother Hua Shuij, with a smile at the corner of his mouth. His eyes seem to be able to see through his heart. I dare not. Brother Hua Shushui shakes his head in a hurry. If you dare, it's nothing. Yi Tian hears the sound and looks at him with a faint smile. He says, it's just that when the time comes, I'll talk to you, Li Dashao. You told me where he likes to go. Do you think, with Li Dashao's personality, how can you arrange you? What the hell? Flower-shirt water elder brother hears a sound, immediately excited Ling Ling of beat a shiver. He often contacts with Li Fangyuan, so he knows this guy very well. Although he was born in a rich family like Li family in Yanjing, he often took all kinds of net celebrities and little stars to various islands for holidays. But in fact, he didn't have the heart of the sea at all. On the contrary, he was small-hearted and had a strong hatred. Moreover, although he helped Li Fangyuan with many things, he felt that Li Fangyuan actually treated him as a dog. The reason for keeping a dog is that the dog can be loyal and protect the owner. If the dog tells the owner's whereabouts to the person who is not good for the owner, the dog will be unfaithful. Naturally, there is no need to keep such a dog, and the only result is to kill and eat meat. Under such circumstances, even if he tells Yi Tian that he wants to clean up Li Fanyuan, I'm afraid that according to Li Fanyuan's character, he will not feel how loyal he is, but will feel that he has betrayed him. Maybe Li Fanyuan didn't know what to do with him at that time. He might even praise him a few words. But when things are settled, he will definitely deal with him fiercely. Moreover, he will deal with him more fiercely than Yi Tian does now. He will arrange him clearly. Brother, don't worry. I won't say a word. Think of here, flower-shirt water brother flurried looking at Yi Tian, vowed. Now that he tells Li Fanyuan, he can't escape to clean up. It's better to pretend that he doesn't know anything. In this way, no matter whether Yi Tian can finally clean up Li Fanyuan, he won't have any trouble. It's your choice whether you say it or not, but it's someone else's choice whether they say it or not. Yi Tian hears the sound and looks at Su Hao beside him, smiling and playing. Brother Hua Shui looks at Su Hao in a hurry. His eyes pass by. He immediately sees that Su Hao's eyes are turning around. It's obvious that he wants to give information. When he comes into contact with his eyes, he becomes honest. Don't worry, elder brother. I'll take him with me later. I promise I can't say a word from this guy today. Flower-shirt water elder brother excites to work properly a shiver, can't help but say, looking at Leaf Day big voice way. Go away. Leaf Day smell speech, at will have put to wave a hand, light way. Okay, let's go now, brother, don't worry. Flower-shirt water brother heard, such as amnesty, dare not have any hesitation, hurriedly with a group of younger brothers, holding Su Hao, stumbling toward the campus. As soon as Su Hao wanted to shout twice, he was slapped on his face with a big slap in his ear. He passed out and couldn't say a word more. Are you really going to teach Li Fanyuan a lesson? Xiao Yuer waits until Su Hao leaves. She looks at Yi Tian suspiciously and asks. Of course, I've been waiting for this day for a long time. Yi Tian shrugged at will and said with a smile. As he said, he had been looking forward to this day long ago. Now, how can he miss the opportunity? Well, I'll be with you, and then I'll be able to take care of you. Although Xiao Yuer doesn't understand the hatred between Yi Tian and Li Fanyuan, she also feels that Yi Tian is really upset. Without any hesitation, Li Fanyuan nods to Yi Tian and says in a deep voice. No. When Yi Tian hears the sound, he is ready to shake his head and refuse. Just like Li Fanyuan, he really didn't pay attention to him, and he didn't think that the other party could do anything about him. He didn't need any help at all. Moreover, it's his private affair. I don't want Xiao Yuer to get involved. After all, Li Fanyuan is standing behind King Ningzong. If Xiao Yuer passes by, if King Ningzong stares at her, there will be some trouble. Although he is not afraid of King Ningzong, he doesn't want to drag Xiao Yuer into this muddy water. No, it's such a happy decision. But before Yi Tian finished speaking, Yin Bing interrupted him and said with a smile, I've been there in the evening. I've heard about the name of Wollaton, but I haven't been there yet. Yi Tian looks at Yen Bing and Xiao Yuer and sees that they are resolute. He can only smile bitterly and shake his head. He doesn't dissuade them anymore, but he still tells them, however, there's a saying in front of us. When we get there, I'll do it myself, and you two will mix together. Behind Li Fanyuan is King Ningzong. If you provoke him, you may get into trouble. King Ningzong. Yi Tian's words fall, and Yen Bing and Xiao Yuer immediately take a breath of cold air, revealing a strange color in their eyes. They were curious about how the Li family in Yinjing had the power of today. It turned out that they were holding the big legs of Qingming's sect. However, what shocked them even more was that Yi Tianming knew that behind the Li family was Qingming's sect, which was known as the first sect on the mountain. He even wanted to fight against Li Fanyuan. There will be a war between me and King Ningzong sooner or later, whether there is something about Li Fanyuan or not. Leaf Day looking at them, smile, light way. You know, he not only broke the King Ningzong several times, pulled out such tentacles as the Zhai family in Hajiang, but because he destroyed Taiyiman alone, he was known as the strong enemy of Lu Bufan for the first person on the mountain. King Ningzong would not give up on him. After all, in this world, no matter who is the boss, they never want to be replaced by another person and lose their former scenery. So, don't get too involved in this matter. I don't want you to get into unnecessary trouble. Immediately after that, Tian smiles at Yanbing and Xiaoyuer and says, I'm not afraid of King Ningzong. You call me and I'll join hands with you. I also want to know whether this so-called first sect on the mountain really deserves its name. Hearing this, Xiaoyuer raises her eyebrows and smiles at Tian. She doesn't care. She doesn't care how powerful King Ningzong is. With her relationship with Tian, if King Ningzong wants to deal with Tian, she will never stand by. Yanbing is silent and looks at Xiaoyuer enviously. Xiaoyuer can say these words, but she can't. Because Xiaoyuer is a casual practitioner, but behind her is Tian Gangate. Her identity is special. Every word and deed represents Tian Gangate. If she chooses to help Tian, it means that she has to drag the whole Tian Gangate into the whirlpool. At this moment, she can't even help admiring Xiaoyuer. She can do whatever she wants with her heart. If that's the case, she can even go back to her family without accepting the arrangement. Instead, she can continue to be her teacher at Nanhai University. Don't think so much. It's just a Qingming sect. I can't see it in my eyes. How can Tian not know Yanbing's mind? He picks her eyebrows and laughs. Yanbing chuckles, but the bitterness in her heart doesn't slow down much. I'm a little hungry. Let's go and have a meal. Let's have a good time at night. Tian looks at Yanbing's appearance and digs off the topic with a smile. He takes them to find a place outside the school and has a big meal. Time passed quickly. When the moon came to the top of Willows, the three had already arrived at Wollaton. Wollaton is the place with the richest nightlife in the capital. Although it's not too late for them to come, the bars and nightclubs around them are full of all kinds of people. There are cool clothes, enchanting girls, fashionable young people, and many foreign people with blonde hair and blue eyes. It seems that it's a very lively place. It's noisy. Tian listens to the deafening sound of music in the bars and nightclubs around him. He can't help but have a big head. Compared with this kind of busy place, he preferred to drink quietly and listen to the music. Bustle is the feeling of youth. How can you be like an old man? Yanbing and Xiaoyuer don't resist this. While they are looking around curiously, they tease Tian. Tian laughs bitterly. The reason why he likes to be quiet is that he used to practice in seclusion during his 200 years in Fengsuan spiritual realm. It's not wrong for them to say that he is like an old man. I don't know you. Don't touch me. But when Tian looks around at the colorful neon signs and wants to find the candy nightclub, he suddenly hears a low roar not far away. He followed his reputation and immediately saw several blonde foreigners surrounded by a drunken young girl who was a little drunk. Her face was full of obscene laughter and muttering. Wife, why don't you recognize me? These blonde Western youths, when they heard the girl's words, not only didn't restrain themselves, but also picked up their eyebrows and sneered. Their hands were even more unclean, and they bumped at the girl. If she didn't struggle hard, I'm afraid the sensitive parts would fall into these dirty hands. Who's your wife? Get out of here. The young girl has a big temper. She wants to drive them away with a wave, but she seems to drink too much wine. As soon as she raises it, she falls down powerlessly. Those Western youths, seeing this scene, are more playful, and become more and more dishonest. You guys, what are you doing? Let go of this girl and get out of my way now. At this time, a young man couldn't see it. He rushed up and pointed to the Western youths. What are we doing? It's none of your business. You're wise. Get out of here. The young people in the West smile and ignore the young people's scolding. Not only that, but also in front of him, they extend their hands to the girl's shoulders, trying to force them to hold her and take her away. You. The young man burst into a rage, clenched his fist, and rushed over. I'm a foreigner, dare you hit us? Seeing his action, the Western youths strode forward, raised their heads, put their cheeks close to the young man's body, and said, Come on, fight here. Try it. What will happen after the fight? Hearing the sound, the young man's breath suddenly became rapid, his face flushed, and his clenched fist slowly loosened. Foreigners are protected by the law. When they start, they are easy to get involved in international disputes. They are very troublesome and difficult to deal with. Ha, cowardly yellow monkeys are all counselors. Your girls can only be slept by us. You softies, just watch it. Oh, by the way, maybe you're lucky and can. How did you say that? Oh, by the way, take it, it's her honor that we can take a fancy to her. Maybe when she wakes up, we have to thank us for giving her a perfect experience. You little bananas can't bring him happiness at all. The thing without seed, Chinese, is the soft egg. You deserve to be bullied by us. Those Western youths, seeing the young people's appearance, laughed wildly and became more unscrupulous. The young man was puffing and puffing, his cheeks were red, his unclenched fists were pinched again, and his eyes almost burst with fire. Not only him, but all the people around him also showed their anger, staring at these foreigners, like a flame rising in their heart. Bang! But just then, a dark shadow suddenly passed by, followed by a dull fist sound. Then, the foreigner, who put his head to the young man's side, immediately flew out like a ball. After falling heavily on the ground, his mouth was full of blood, and his back teeth fell. On his pale face, there was a dazzling purple fist mark. This shadow, not Yi Tian, can bewitch. He just wanted to clean up Li Fang Yuan, but unexpectedly, he saw this scene. How can Yi Tian not be angry? Since his face is stretched out, let's make a hook. What if I beat you? Yi Tian's fist fell and did not stop. He strode forward and stepped out. He stepped heavily on the stomach of the Western youth and said in a cold voice, "Ah!" With this foot, the body of the Western youth immediately bent up like a cooked prawn, with its mouth wide open, making bursts of heartrending howls. "You want to die." This scene, let the other several Western youth can't help, angrily scolded to Yi Tian rushed over, can't help but say, fist to his head. "You bastards are really looking for death." Yi Tian turns his head with a sneer and raises his hand. It's like driving a fly and slaps it in the past. Bang! 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 With a series of muffled sounds, the Western youths who rushed over immediately fell to the ground like their former companion, with blood and teeth flying in their mouths. A bunch of foreign rubbish. Yi Tian still didn't vent enough. After kicking the first Western youth away, he went to several other Western youth and threw his feet away. One by one, he kicked them like a heavy cannon. In a moment, there was a sound of crack, crack and howl. Just a few breaths, these Western youths fell into a pool of blood. They rolled their eyes one by one and their mouths were wide open. They were no longer arrogant and domineering. What they had left were just as rash as drowning dogs. This scene, tragic and bloody, can fall into the eyes of the people around. Not only there is no panic, but there is a bloody publicity and ascension. Good. Good fight. Suddenly, in the crowd, I don't know who called out. Good fight, these bastards, we should clean up and let them know that we Chinese people are not easy to bully. This group of garbage, in our land, so abuse us, should be hard to clean up. A word fell, along the crowd immediately sounded like a burst of applause, everyone clapped for Yi Tian, cheered for him. Good boy. At the beginning, the young man who rushed up also looked at Yi Tian admiringly, clenched his fist and said in a loud voice. You're good, too. Yi Tian smiles at him and says, but you are too polite to these rubbish. In the future, we will encounter such things, and then we will face this kind of rubbish. Don't talk nonsense, beat it hard. In this world, there is always a right and wrong, red and white. This kind of rubbish, if we don't teach them hard, they really think that we Chinese are as good as when we had that pigtail. The young man nodded hard. Not only he, but also the people around him nodded. Yi Tian's words, let them understand, to deal with these arrogant foreign garbage, is to let them have a hard time. Otherwise, I'm afraid it will make them feel that today's China is still the era when a few foreigners can be unscrupulous with their pigtails. Beauty, are you all right? If the girl is out alone, she should drink less. Although drinking is not wrong, there are not only good people but also bad people in the world. Seeing this, Yi Tian smiles. Then he comes to the drunk girl and smells her strong and frightening smell. He frowns and tells her. Then he waves and calls a taxi and says, ask where her home is and send her back. What's your name? Don't say your name is Lei Feng. Although the girl is drunk and sleepy, her consciousness is clear. She holds Yi Tian's arm tightly and asks. My name is Yi Tian Master, take her home. If you have more money, it will be the car washing fee. Yi Tian has no choice but to smile bitterly and shakes his head. With a light sentence, he breaks free from the girl's hand and waves to the taxi driver. Then he takes out a few red tickets from the storage ring and puts them on the co-pilot. Yi Tian, Yi Tian. The drunken girl mumbles, recites Yi Tian's name, sticks on the car window and stares at Yi Tian tightly, just as she wants to carve his appearance in her heart with her bleary eyes. Yi Tian looks at the girl's appearance and shakes his head helplessly. In this world, there are always such girls who feel that I can drink and get drunk, but you can't take advantage of me when I'm drunk. But as the saying goes, a gentleman is easy to guard, and a villain is hard to guard. But in this world, there are always more villains than gentlemen. Yi Tian, I just saw Li Fangyuan. The guy saw you, too. Then he hurriedly got into the candy nightclub. I suspect that he is going to run. And at this time, Xiaoyuer walks to Yi Tian's side, chin toward not far away after picking for a while, sink away. Want to run? Hearing this, Yi Tian immediately raised a sneer at the corner of his mouth and said in a deep voice, since I've touched him, I didn't say I'm going. He wants to go, so leave 2 legs here. I'm sorry, we're closed. No visitors are allowed in. As soon as Yi Tian takes Xiaoyuer and Yan Binggang to the door of the candy nightclub, the security guard of several celebrities Gaomata blocks the door and looks on guard. They have just been instructed by Li Fangyuan to keep Yi Tian out of the nightclub no matter what method they use. Do you think you can stop me? Wise, get out of the way. Yi Tian looks at these security guards, pick eyebrow a smile, light way. Man, this is a toast, not a fine drink. The several security were no Yi Tian's fierce, can't help but say, probe hand then wanna grasp Yi Tian's shoulder, get him to one side. Bang! Yi Tian does not dodge, strides forward, follows closely, hands mana operation, toward these security guards. In an instant, a terrible wind, like a hurricane, swept out, fell on these security guards, let them fly backward like a kite. I can't help myself. Yi Tian smiles indifferently and follows him to the door of the nightclub. With a glance, he immediately sees that the big iron door of the nightclub is locked now. The alloy iron door is extremely heavy. It's very close to the ground. Kung! 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 Yi Tian is too lazy to take trouble. His mind moves. The fierce sword appears in his palm and swings casually towards the iron gate. In an instant, with the harsh sound of the iron gate immediately falls to the ground, splashing countless dust. Yi Tian can't help but walk into the nightclub. He sweeps around and immediately sees that there are more than 10 security guards watching him. However, these people's eyes are full of panic. They are obviously scared by his means of breaking into the nightclub. Where is Li Fangyuan? Yi Tian toward this group of people will after sweeping an eye, light ask away. I warn you, don't mess around. This is the capital. At the foot of the emperor, if you mess around, you'll cause any disaster. Don't blame me for not warning you. A leading security guard looks at Yi Tian and threatens him loudly. Scare me, don't you? Do you think that since I dare to come here, I will be afraid of what you say? Yi Tian hears this, pick eyebrow to ponder a smile, light way. Now that he has made up his mind to clean up Li Fangyuan, let alone the capital, even if it is the palace of the Emperor of Hell and the Lingxiao palace of Emperor Laozi, he will never be afraid to do what he wants to do because of fear. You. That leader's security guard sees this, immediately wants to frighten the Leaf Day several words again. Bang! But not wait for him to finish saying, Leaf Day a arrow step forward, one foot then put him on the ground, followed closely, raised a foot to step on his chest. This foot was like a huge stone with a weight of several hundred jin pressed on his chest, which made the security guard completely unable to breathe. Even if he struggled desperately, it didn't help at all. He was so hard to breathe that he couldn't even move. Where is Li Fangyuan? Yi Tian stares at that guy. When he feels that he is about to be suffocated, he just releases his feet and cools down. Cough cough. The leading security guard breathed heavily, his face flushed, his breath was short, and his eyes could not help looking at a private room on the second floor. If it had been like this, I would have suffered less. Seeing this, Tian looks at the security guard who is the leader. Then he walks to the box on the second floor. The security guards in the hall, looking at Tian's action, want to stop it. They can see their companions lying on the ground, gasping wildly, but they are extremely frightened. They are afraid that they will follow each other's footsteps, so they can only slowly disperse and make way for Tian. After a few breaths, Tian went to the box on the second floor. His mind dispersed. He immediately found that Li Fangyuan was in a box near the edge of the corridor, and now he was dragging his chubby body to the window. Bang! Tian didn't even bother to push the door. He kicked the door of the private room to the ground with a single blow. Then he turned to Li Fangyuan, who was half of his body outside the window. With a playful smile on his mouth, he stabbed at the inside card seat and said faintly, "Li Daxiao, we finally meet." He thought that Li Fangyuan should still have some looks, but he didn't expect that he was a big fat man, about 1 meter 8, weighing nearly 256 kg. He looked like a meat mountain, especially his face was full of potholes and fat. Such a look, at a glance, is disgusting. This kind of rubbish, also want to be with Qin Luotian, can be said to be the real toad wants to eat swan meat. Tian, if you dare to move me, you are going to tear your face with the Li family and King Mingzong. Are you sure you really want to do this? Li Fangyuan bit his teeth and stared at Tian, threatening him. Do you think that since I'm here, I'll be afraid of the Li family and the so-called King Mingzong? What's more, you Li Daxiao have thought of so many ways to deal with me. Is it that in this world, you Li people are only allowed to bully others, and you are not allowed to be bullied? Tian shrugged, looking at Li Fangyuan's light sneer. At the moment, he and Li Fangyuan are the only two people here. He can take out 10,000 means to clean up Li Fangyuan casually, but he thinks that in that case, it will be a bargain for the grandson, so he is not in a hurry to do it, but to let his mood collapse. You know, the mental torture, but far more than the physical torture 1,000 times. I tell you, you really don't know the heaven and the earth. Don't think you can kill the Tai gate. You can walk horizontally. I tell you, you are a frog in the bottom of the well. You don't know the heaven and the earth. The strength of King Mingzong is beyond your imagination. If you move me, just wait to die. If you stop now and leave Qin Luotian, by the way, I can plead for you in front of my brother and leave you a job. Hearing this, Li Fangyuan tore his face thoroughly, struggled, jumped down from the window, stared at Tian, and sneered. Qin Luotian. When Xiao Yuer and Yan Bing hear this, there is a sound in their heart. Before that, they suspected that the reason why Tian wanted to clean up Li Fangyuan was because of Li Fangyuan's pursuit of Qin Luotian in the past, but they only doubted at that time. Now, their conjecture has been completely confirmed. Looking at Tian's back, their hearts are inexplicably sour and bitter. It is obvious that their position in Tianxin is far from being comparable with Qin Luotian. Similarly, they also feel that Tian is really in love with Qin Luogod. Just, they don't know, that girl exactly has what charm they don't know, unexpectedly can lucky get Tian's favor. Is it? Tian picked an eyebrow to smile, casually moved his hands and feet, and said, as I said, I'm the ancestor of Qingming's sect. You take these guys who are not even great-grandchildren to oppress me. Don't daydream. Schwa. Almost at the same time as his voice fell, along the windowsill, a figure appeared immediately. With a shake of his hand, several dark weapons, which were obviously poisoned, flashed blue light and flew towards him. Obviously, this should be the person Li Moron sent to protect Li Fangyuan. Just now, Li Fangyuan deliberately hides out of the window to disturb Tian's mind, and then he chooses the opportunity to do it. Moreover, according to the strength of this concealed weapon, I'm afraid that the opponent's cultivation must at least be in the middle of the sky level. If the mountain people with such strength are put into other sects, they will definitely be the mainstay of existence. But when they come to Qingming's sect, they come out to serve as bodyguards for such rubbish as Li Fangyuan. We can see how deep the inside story of Qingming's sect is. Schwa. Yi Tian doesn't dodge. He raises his hand lightly, and several wind blades pass by. Then he knocks the concealed weapon off the ground. Then he looks at the mountain man, who suddenly jumps on the windowsill and mocks, "This kind of goods means to deal with me. It's not even the top of heaven level. It seems that Qingming's sect is really empty. Yi Tian, don't think you can be unscrupulous if you annihilate just one Tai gate and kill a Tianji peak. The mountain people of Qingmingzong are not comparable to those ordinary people. Although Chen Chunyong is only in the later stage of Tianji, he is not comparable to the Tianji peak of Tai sect leader." Qingmingzong, the famous mountain man, looked at Yi Tian coldly and said coldly, "Are the mountain people of Qingmingzong very strong? How come I never feel like that?" The leaf day picks eyebrow to ponder lightly to smile, full face of don't approve. According to Chen Chuanyong's words, it's as if he had never dealt with the people of Qingming's sect in the past. Although these people of Qingming's sect do have some means, they are stronger than other mountain people, but their strength is extremely limited. Moreover, for Yi Tian, it's easier to clean up these guys of Qingming's sect than other sections. Because he knew much more about the methods and means of Qingming's sect than other sections. In other words, he was the ancestor of these Qingming monks. No matter how strong the monkey cubs are, they have to be honest in the hands of their ancestors. It's not up to you to say whether you're strong or not. You don't know until you try. Chen Chunyong sneer, can't help but say, Hannah Yang, two wind blades whistling, then to Yi Tian suddenly hit. Not only that, when the wind blade is thrown out, he even uses his cloud camera to try to control Yi Tian's body, so that he can't escape and can only be cut off by the wind blade. Your means are really ugly. Yi Tian looks at the two crooked wind blades and the flawed cloud photographer, and shakes his head in silence. Whoa! As soon as the words fall, he raises his hand, and a wind blade suddenly gathers and forms, attacking Chen Chuanyong's wind blade. Although he only made a wind blade, the size of that wind blade is as big as Chen Chuanyong's two wind blades, and Chen Chuanyong's wind blade can't compare with him in terms of solidity, dexterity, and sharpness. Kung! When the three wind blades touch each other, Yi Tian's wind blades, just like the rolling flood, rush on a low small dam. Without any effort, Yi Tian directly twisted the two wind blades into pieces and dissipated them in the void. Hiss! Chen Chunyong takes a breath of cold air. His eyes are full of fear. He looks at Yi Tian in a panic. He can't help but dodge the wind blade. Although he knows that Yi Tian can destroy the Tai gate, he must be very powerful, but he really didn't expect that Yi Tian was so powerful that he broke his two wind blades. This kind of strength is not seen with my own eyes. Who dares to believe that it will be true still want to escape? What about dreams? Get down on your knees, but at this time, Yi Tian raised his hand, and also used his cloud photography hand. In an instant, if a pair of invisible hands suddenly fell on Chen Chuanyong's shoulders, he would kneel down on the ground. No matter how hard he struggled, he could not move. No way, it's absolutely impossible. How can you take the cloud hand, and it's so powerful? Chen Chuanyong felt the familiar qi. At this moment, he was completely dull. He didn't expect that Yi Tian's strength would be so strong. What's more, he didn't expect that Yi Tian could also use his cloud camera. Moreover, the strength of his cloud camera was far more than that of him, which he had no way to compare. That kind of feeling even made him feel that his cloud photographer was like a kind of imitation of Yi Tian's cloud photographer, and it was also a kind of inferior imitation of a dog, which made people feel terrible. However, he couldn't understand that Yi Tian was not a disciple of Qingming's sect. How could he use his cloud photography hand? He was so skillful that even he, a real mountain man born in Qingming's sect, could not compare with the terrible and amazing situation. Why is he so strong? Not only Chen Chuanyong, at this moment, Li Fanyuan has been completely dull, and his face is very pale. He thought that Chen Chuanyong's strength, coupled with the sudden attack, would give Yi Tian some color to see, but he did not expect that Chen Chuanyong, who looked so powerful, was just like an embroidered pillow in front of Yi Tian. He had no resistance at all. He was forced to kneel down on the ground and even fought back. There's no power. Whoa! But at this time, Yi Tian's wind blade has come to Chen Chuanyong's body. The fierce feeling, even if it has not touched the skin, has made Chen Chunyong feel a terrible pain like being criticized. Even at this moment, there was a sense of despair in his heart. He felt that the wind blade was like a sickle waved by death. If he touched his neck, he would be separated from his family, and there would be no place to die. Shula! 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 But at this time, Chen Chunyong suddenly felt a chill on his scalp. If something fell on his hand, he spread out his hand and looked around. He was surprised to find that what fell on his palm was a mass of hair. If I were you, I wouldn't move. Otherwise, the wind blade will cut your scalp, and it won't be fun. At this time, Tian looks at Chen Chunyong and says with a playful smile, "He's shaving my head with a blade?" When Chen Chunyong heard the sound, he felt as if he had been electrified. He was able to use the wind blade. Naturally, he knew that although the wind blade was invisible, its sharpness was no less than that of any kind of terrible blade. As long as he touched a little, it was a sad picture of skin splitting and bone breaking. Moreover, the wind blade is not only sharp, but also very difficult to manipulate. But now, Tian can even shave his head with the wind blade. It can be seen that his control of the wind blade is so smart that it has reached a heinous level. Similarly, Chen Chunyong also knows that the reason why Tian chooses to do this is undoubtedly a kind of dazzling skill. He is telling him that as long as Tian is willing, he can crush an insignificant mole ant like death. If the wind blade deviates an inch, he can cut off his head. Shula! 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 In the blink of an eye, Chen Chunyong felt his head chilly. On the ground, it was covered with black hair. He could even feel the terrible and frightening touch of the wind blade as it brushed the roots and scalp of his hair. That kind of feeling made him tremble wildly, but he didn't dare to move. He was afraid that if he moved a little bit, it would cause the wind blade to cut the skull, and let the red and white things in his head spill all over the room. This kind of horror, as well as tension, makes Chen Chunyong feel that every second at this moment is like a lifetime. He firmly believes that at this moment, no matter what Tian asks him, as long as he knows, he will never say anything and dare not hide half a sentence. This scene makes Yen Bing and Xiao Yuer smile bitterly. Tian's hand is so bad that it can scare people's courage. But in addition to feeling funny, they also have a kind of shock. Such means are too powerful to be understood. Almost enough. A moment later, Tian's hand trembled, and the wind blade disappeared into the void. Wheezing, wheezing. When Chen Chunyong sensed that the sharp force of the wind blade above his head had dissipated, he immediately fell to the ground and gasped wildly. It was only at this moment that he found that in the short video, his whole body had been soaked with sweat, just like he had just fished out of the water. He had never experienced such a terrible feeling in his life. As for Li Fangyuan, he is also close to the corner at this moment. His face is pale, and he looks up and down like a knocker. He trembles wildly and looks at Tian in fear. He felt that this man didn't come from the earth at all, but from the deep devil's land. Kneel down honestly. After glancing at Chen Chunyong, Tian turns his head and looks at Li Fangyuan, playing with the taste. Li Dashao, now it's your turn. Li Fangyuan bites his teeth and looks at Tian in panic. At this moment, his fear of Tian has reached the bottom of his heart. Without any hesitation, he will turn around and run away. Tian's means are really terrible. He is even more terrible than his brother, and he will torture people too much. He can think of the devil-like idea of shaving people's hair with a wind blade, and it will fall into his hands. God knows what will happen, but there will be no good fruit to eat. However, he just ran a few steps, and then he tripped and fell to the ground. He fixed his eyes and immediately found that there was a small tea table on the ground in front of him, which he didn't have before. There is no doubt that Tiangang pulled him in front of him by mysterious means, so he let him fall. What? The good play hasn't started yet. Li Dashao is going to leave? Tian walked to Li Fangyuan's body with a playful smile, looked down at him lying on the ground, and said faintly, Li Dashao, even if you admire me, you don't have to be so obsessed. If you dare to touch my hair, I will let you have no good fruit to eat. My brother is. Li Fangyuan clenched his fist and looked at Tian to threaten him. Brush. When Tian hears the speech, his mouth is full of mocking smile. As soon as he raises his hand, a blade of wind flies up, and suddenly it falls on Li Fanyuan's head. Next to it, a sound of brush pull rings out. Li Fanyuan only feels that his scalp is chilly, and then his black hair flies in disorder. This feeling scared Li Fanyuan to shiver like crazy. A moment later, when the numbness of his scalp fell, he looked at the mirror in the box, and immediately saw himself in the mirror. At this moment, there was only half of his head and hair left. He was shaved by Tian, bald on one side and long on the other. What's more, the shaved half is not even in length. It looks like it was chewed by a dog. Compared with Chen Xuanyang's bare head, it's very different. It's obvious that Tian deliberately made him look ugly. Oh, I'm not careful. I didn't shave it well. However, this hairstyle matches your temperament. Tian looked at Li Fanyuan. After he couldn't help laughing, he looked at him playfully and continued, and now, it seems that I've moved more than one hair of you, but thousands of hair of you. How are you going to deal with me? Damn you. Li Fanyuan's lung is about to explode. He even forgot his fear. He can't help but scold Tian habitually. Bang! Tian heard these 4 words, his face suddenly sank, one foot flew up, hit Li Fanyuan's chest, kicked him upside down, hit the wall heavily, and then covered his chest with his hand, sweating, spitting blood in his mouth. Ouch. He was born with a golden spoon when he was young. How could he suffer such a terrible humiliation? This makes him more and more hateful when he looks at Tian. Li Dashao, you really like to die. Tian coldly sweeps his eyes at Li Fanyuan, with a cold tone and a touch of murder in his words. His parents can be said to be the scales in his heart, but now Li Fanyuan dares to curse his mother, which naturally makes him unbearable. Tian, if you have seed, kill me. But even if you kill me, your life will be in the capital, our Li family. Li Fanyuan has broken the pot and is unscrupulous. He looks at Tian and sneers at threats, but he still hasn't said a word. He suddenly raises his head and utters a terrible scream that is thousands of times more shrill than killing a pig. Chen Xuanyang looks at it with fright, and immediately sees that Tian has just used his hand to take pictures of the clouds again. He shoots the sofa in the box directly, and then hits Li Fanyuan's legs heavily. From his thigh down, it has become bloody. Obviously, these 2 legs have been completely abandoned by Tian. From today on, remember that you have to pay the price for your cheap mouth. But even so, Tian still did not stop. His hands were gently raised again, and the sofa that fell on Li Fanyuan's legs was flying up again, whistling, and heavily fell on Li Fanyuan's left and right hands. While he was howling, his arms were like his legs, blood, and white bones were visible. This terrible injury, I am afraid that even if it is sent to the hospital in time, it will leave a lifelong disability. At this moment, Li Fanyuan couldn't think of anything at all. He was drowned in terrible pain. He opened his mouth and let out a series of shrill howls. It's so noisy. Shut up. Tian frowns, hands a yang, a dirty rag, immediately fly up, into Li Fanyuan's mouth. When he was in pain, if he could breathe out the pain, it would be relieved slightly. Now, Tian blocked Li Fanyuan's mouth, making Li Fanyuan feel that the terrible pain suddenly became clear. The terrible pain was about to explode his brain. Now, it's your turn. What do I ask you and what do you answer? If you don't answer well, what's the result? I think you should understand. But although Li Fanyuan is deeply hurt, it's a pity that he is not a beautiful woman, and Tian doesn't have the heart to pity her. He doesn't even look at him one more time, so he puts his eyes on Chen Xuanyang not far away and looks at him. Don't worry, senior. I'll answer whatever you ask. I dare not hide a word. Hearing this, Chen Xuanyang immediately kneels to the ground and kowtows to Tian, shaking. He knows that if he does not cooperate, there is no doubt that Li Fanyuan's current situation is the end of him and so on. Lu Bufan broke through the small world. Where is your Qingming sect? What's the secret of that small world? Tian Wenyan, looking at Chen Xuanyang, light hair asked. Master, how do you know? Hearing this, Chen Xuanyang looks at Tian in amazement. He can't believe it. What happened in Xiaoxiandi is the secret of Qingmingzong. Only a few of the core disciples know it. He is one of them. He didn't expect that this secret was revealed by Yi Tian. This kind of feeling shocked him, but at the same time, he felt more perplexed. Yi Tian was not only proficient in the unique means of Qingming sect, but also knew the secrets of Qingming sect. This kind of situation was incredible to the extreme. He has been in the ancient martial arts circle for many years, met many strange people, and never seen such a strange one. At this moment, he couldn't help but wonder if Yi Tian was reincarnated by any of the ancestors of Qingming sect. It was just an unfortunate moment that he had a conflict with these unworthy descendants. Instead of forming a good relationship, he became an ugly bandit. Do you think you are qualified to ask me questions? Yi Tian looks at Chen Chunyong, light way. If Yi Tian can see through people's ideas, he will praise Chen Chunyong as a real talent. He even guessed 7788. After learning that there was Qingming sect in this world, he really had some ideas about the relationship between this sect and Qingming Blessed Land. He even thought that if it really came from Qingming Blessed Land, he would not mind making a good relationship after finding out the reason. It's a pity that what these unworthy descendants have done has really disappointed his grandmaster. Not only that, things have developed to the present, he even has the idea of erasing Qingmingzong from the world. As a grandmaster, he even wants to erase the inheritance that he has been able to preserve on the earth by chance. This is really a big joke. However, Chen Xuanyang's only mistake is that he is not the reincarnation of a grandmaster, but the grandmaster himself. I'm sorry, master. Please forgive me. When Chen Chunyong heard this, he woke up like a dream. He caught out in a hurry and looked at Yi Tian in awe. He said, "The little heaven and earth of Qingming sect is in the deepest part of the sect. It's said that it's a piece of blessed land in the fairyland intercepted by the patriarch with his divine power of creation. It's extremely extraordinary. The blessed land of fairyland intercepted by the Grand Master with his divine power of creation?" The Leaf Day hears a sound, the tip of eyebrow can't help but pick lightly. At this moment, he doubted that Feng Xiaoxiandi in Qingming sect might be a corner of Feng Cun's spiritual realm. However, it's extremely difficult to intercept one side of heaven and earth and regard it as a small heaven and a blessed place. Since the disciple of Qingming Blessed Place who created Qingming sect didn't even learn to be a complete cloud photographer, his strength must be very low. How did he do this? It's said that the blessed land of the fairyland is connected with a big area similar to the earth. Even by chance, we can meet powerful immortals there, but they seem to be trapped in that big area and unable to enter the earth. At this time, Chen Chunyong told a more shocking story about Yi Tian. What? Yan Bing and Xiao Yuer are immediately shocked by this secret. They knew that Qingmingzong was powerful and profound, but even so, they did not expect that it was so powerful that they even had such a wonderful place. It's so great to be able to get in touch with the immortals who are extremely powerful in cultivation. I'm afraid it's better than 10 years of hard work to be instructed by those immortals. No wonder, over the years, Qingming sect has been able to stand at the top of the sect on the mountain, and no one can shake their position. It's really strange if we can't do this step with such incredible and unheard of details. In the small world of Qingmingzong, there are immortals with incomparable accomplishments? Not only the two of them, but also Yi Tian, after hearing the words, realized that the immortal in Qingmingzong's opinion was not really immortal, but should be a monk in Feng Cun's spiritual realm. As for the powerful words, they should be discounted. For these low-level mountain people, even the sea view monks, for them, are comparable to the powerful existence of the immortal level. Is that small world not a corner of the square-inch spiritual realm, but a corner overlapped with the square-inch spiritual realm? The monks in Qingming sect can enter that space and make a breakthrough, but the monks in the square-inch spiritual realm can't enter the earth through that small world? In the blink of an eye, Yi Tian's mind changes, and he deduces many possibilities. However, these conjectures are only conjectures after all. Whether they are true or false can only be confirmed by going to Qingmingzong in person and entering that small world. But no matter what the situation is in that small world, it is absolutely a matter of great importance. Master, I've told you everything I know. Please forgive me. At this time, Chen Chunyong, like a chicken pecking rice, kowtows to Yi Tian, imploring. At this moment, he knows that his life and death are all pinched in the palm of Yi Tian. If Yi Tian wants him to live, he can't die. If Yi Tian wants him to die, he can't live. This kind of insignificance is something he has never experienced, but he also does not want to die, but hopes to continue to live. Don't worry, I won't kill you. The Leaf Day hears a sound, this just a stringent mind, looking at Chen Chunyong to pick eyebrow tip, light smile way. Thank you, master, thank you. Chen Chunyong was so excited that he kowtowed to Yi Tian. It's too early for you to thank me. I won't kill you, but I won't keep your accomplishments. But at this time, Yi Tian interrupted Chen Chunyong's words with a faint word, and then, with a step forward and a backhand, he printed it on Chen Chunyong's dantian. In an instant, the cultivation breath of the middle stage of the heaven level immediately passed away like flowing water. Feeling the disappearance of his cultivation, Chen Chunyong's face turned pale and sat down on the ground, looking at Yi Tian and gnashing his teeth. For people on the mountain, there is no difference between being abandoned and being dead. Especially for a master like him who has already stood at the top of the pyramid, although he has survived, he has fallen from the top of the mountain to the bottom of the mountain. Life is not like death. Help me to bring a word to Lu Bufan. I'll wait for him in the capital. If he doesn't want to come, I'll go to Qingming clan to meet him soon. After that, Yi Tianchao and Chen Chunyong glanced at Yinbing and Xiaoyuer, then took them away from the candy club. Yi Tian, I want you to die hard. After waiting for Yi Tian to leave, Chen Chunyong looks at his back and roars. He immediately finds out the phone from Li Fangyuan, who is lying in a pool of blood, and dials it to the owner of the Li family. Li Fangyuan, his hands and feet have been abandoned, and he has become a real loser. This piece of news, spread suddenly, immediately like a storm, swept the whole capital Li family. Li Chang, the contemporary owner of the Li family, is Li Fanyuan's father. Originally, he was pushing a cup to change one with someone at the wine company to discuss the project. When Chen Chunyong called, his smiling face immediately became gloomy. He immediately dropped the glass on the ground and left the box in the face of a crowd of customers. Under the steps of the hotel, 3 long Rolls-Royces had already stopped there. As soon as they saw him, several bodyguards in black, with sunglasses and earphones immediately swarmed up, and then took him to the Rolls-Royce in the middle. Immediately, 3 cars in a row, toward the hospital. How is Fang Yuan now? After a long silence, Li Cheng turned his head and looked at the beautiful assistant in silver gray OL dress, revealing a pair of long black silk legs. However, he didn't have the impulse to vent on her legs as he used to, but asked the assistant. Chairman, the situation of the second young master, it's not very good. The news just came from the hospital that he was injured too badly. Even if he is cured, I'm afraid he will have sequelae. Beauty assistant carefully looked at Li Chang, low voice slowly way. Although what she said was very implicit, the meaning of what she said was obvious. Obviously, according to the assistant's meaning, even if Li Fangyuan was cured, if he spoke better, he would be disabled for life, if he spoke worse, he would become a useless person. And the second young master's that place, too, has been damaged. I'm afraid it will lose its fertility in the future. But at this time, the beauty assistant carefully looked at him, and then slowly. Yi Tian. Li Cheng's whole face immediately stiffened and followed him. He raised his fist and hit the back of the chair in front of him heavily. He roared like an angry adult beast when he saw the cub being hurt. Although he has 2 sons, Li Muran has now become the young leader of Qingming sect. His status is respected, which basically means that he will not have much to do with the Li family. Even if he leaves incense in the future, he will certainly inherit Qingming sect, rather than come back to take charge of the Li family's estate. Therefore, he always feels that he has only one son, Li Fangyuan, and the Li family inherits him. The important task of generation also falls on Li Fangyuan's shoulders. Limbs broken, but it is not impossible to give birth to a child, but if there is a bad, it is basically equal to the Li family to the end. Under such circumstances, how can Li Cheng not be angry and hate Yi Tian, the culprit? Looking at the anger in Li Cheng's eyes, the beauty assistant can't help but sweat for the guy named Yi Tian. She knows that when Li Cheng's face shows this kind of anger, the person whose name is mentioned by him will not have good fruit to eat. At least, in the past. Call me the young master. But at this time, a scene that made the beauty assistant feel incredible appeared. Although the anger in Li Qingxuan's eyes was about to turn into substance, he didn't give orders to himself as he used to. Instead, he contacted the young master. As Li Cheng's personal assistant, the beauty assistant naturally heard of Li Muron's name, and knew that the young master was extremely powerful and was the support of the Li family. Now, instead of taking revenge by himself, Li Cheng places his hope on Li Muron. Doesn't it mean that Li Cheng has no idea what to do with Yi Tian, who abandoned Li Fanyuan, and can only rely on external forces? There are people in the capital that the Li family and Yanjing can't deal with. The beauty assistant was stunned, and the whole person was a little dull for a while. What is the Li family in the capital? It's a top-notch family. She has a good eye and shakes her feet. She has been with Li Cheng for so many years. She doesn't know how many so-called bigwigs she has met. When she comes to Li Cheng, she has to be obedient. What's more, she doesn't know how many times she has seen some so-called bigwigs who are easily trampled on by Li Cheng. The family is broken and the people are dead, but now, Li Fanyuan's limbs have been broken, he has become a useless person, and he even has no fertility in such a tragic situation. Li Cheng did not choose revenge at the first time. Instead, he chose to contact the mysterious young master, which shocked and frightened her. Of course, she was even more curious. She wanted to know what the young man named Ji Tian looked like and whether he had 3 heads and 6 arms and could do what so many people in Beijing had thought for countless years, but no one ever did. Didn't you hear me? When the beauty assistant was in a daze, Li Cheng turned to look at him and grunted. Okay, I'll contact the young master now. After hearing this, the beauty assistant wakes up like a dream. Immediately, she finds out Li Muron's contact information and starts to call him. However, when the phone was dialed out, she had calmed down and made a sweat for the guy named Ji Tian. It can be said that Li Muron is the most mysterious and sinister existence of the Li family. People who don't know about it all think that Li Muron is studying abroad. He is absorbed in his studies and doesn't pay much attention to his family affairs. But only a person like her, who knows something about the Li family, knows that this young master is responsible for a large part of the prestige of the Li family. Li Muron is mysterious, but he speaks with great weight, and often arranges some strange-looking but powerful people to help Li family. In the past, many troubles encountered by the Li family were solved by the young master in a few words. This time, the guy named Ji Tian may be very powerful, and Li Chengdu can't do anything about him. But as long as the young master takes the hand, the guy named Ji Tian will inevitably come to a miserable end. Silent. At this moment, the video phone has been connected. When you see the young man on the screen who is somewhat similar to Li Fanyuan, but a little more refined, Li Cheng's face immediately smiles and calls his name, but the voice is respectful. It's not like the father is calling his son, but more like the younger generation is calling the elder. This scene, although absurd, but next to the beauty assistant, but has long been strange. This is the situation of the Li family. Although the young master seldom shows up, whether it's Li Cheng or Li Fanyuan, even if it's father and son, brother, blood is thicker than water, he speaks with a respectful feeling, as if he is afraid to make the young master angry. I already know everything. How about Fang Yuan? When Li Muron received the call, he already understood the purpose of the call, calmed down, and then asked faintly. Indifferent, Fang Yuan's limbs were broken by that Yi Tian. The doctor said that even if he was rescued, he would become a waste in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. Moreover, Fang Yuan lost his fertility. When Li Cheng heard this, he quickly told the story of Li Fanyuan. He couldn't help but shed tears from the corner of his eyes. He looked at Li Muron on the screen and gritted his teeth. Muron, Fang Yuan is your brother. You must help him get justice this time. Don't let people think that our Li family is a bully. Dad, this time, you may have to have a psychological preparation. This time, I should be helpless. But at this time, Li Muron coldly interrupted Li Cheng's words, light way. A beauty assistant heard this, can't help exclaiming, can see next to Li Cheng's eyes, hurriedly raised his hand, covered his mouth. She really didn't expect that this guy named Ji Tian was so powerful that Li Cheng couldn't deal with him, but even the mysterious Li Muron couldn't help him. How incredible was this young man when he was so powerful? But there is no doubt that she can feel that, according to Li Muron's words, the Li family may have kicked an iron plate this time, or even, for the first time, suffered a big dumb loss, broke their teeth and swallowed tears. Quietly, Fang Yuan is your brother. What's more, your brother was beaten like this. Now I'm afraid the whole Yinjing knows. If that's all, I'm afraid that no matter what kind of dog or cat we are, we'll feel weak. We're going to jump out and step on us. Li Cheng glared at the beauty assistant angrily, then looked at Li Muron on the screen and said in a panic. If Li Muron can't help Li Fangyuan get ahead, I'm afraid the Li family will have nothing to do this time. Dad, it's not that I don't want to help you. This time, I really can't help you. Li Muron laughs bitterly. Outside the screen, his hands are tightly clenched and his fingertips pierce his palms. At this moment, although his face is still calm, but at the bottom of his heart, there is also a burning flame. Although he is now a mountain man and no longer has a close relationship with his family, after all, his blood is thicker than water, and the strength of Li's family is actually one of the reasons why, in addition to his aptitude, he can stand out from many disciples and become a little patriarch. He knows that what Li Cheng says is the truth. If Tian is not cleaned up, those aristocratic families who were trampled by the Li family in the past will surely be ready to move now. They will think that the Li family is not so strong, and they will jump out and want to tear a piece of meat from the Li family. Therefore, whether for revenge or for himself, he doesn't want to let Yi Tian go. But now the key is that he has no way to deal with Yi Tian. He wants revenge, but his strength doesn't allow it. One person can wipe out the Tai sect, one of the 6 sects of the 3 sects, from the world. At a young age, he has been able to juxtapose with Lu Bufan. Even if he has extraordinary talent, how can he have the courage to fight against him? It's true that there's no way to deal with Yi Tian. Li Cheng looked at Li Muron on the screen in amazement and disbelief. He felt that Li Muron didn't want to stand out, but he didn't really have the strength to fight against Yi Tian. However, over the years, he has been used to it for a long time. If something is not easy to solve, he will give it to Li Muron, and then let him solve the problem easily. For him or for Li Fangyuan, Li Muron is just like the god of both of them, omnipotent. But now, they feel that the omnipotent god can't do anything to help them. If he could not hear the breath of the beauty assistant around him and smell the fragrance of her, he would almost think that he was hallucinating. Not only Li Cheng, but also the beauty assistant. She can also hear that Li Muron is not shirking something, but really has no countermeasures for this matter. But the more it is, the more terrifying it is. I'll see the master, tell him about it and see how he plans to deal with it. If the master is willing to go to the capital, our Li family will still have a chance to regain face. But if the master is not willing to have friction with him for the time being, we can only bear it for the time being. Li Muron was silent for a long time. After a slight sigh, he made a deep voice to Li Cheng, and then hung up the video phone. This time, the Li family is really going to swallow its son was broken 2 legs, become a eunuch to the letter, unexpectedly also want to endure, by that guy, in Li's head shit domineering. Looking at the black screen, Li Cheng's whole head is buzzing at the moment. He suddenly feels that the sky is overturning and he can't adapt. The young master really can't manage this matter. Li family, I'm going to have a boring loss this time. Not to mention Li Cheng, even the beauty assistant, now the whole person is in a dull. She can imagine that this news will sweep the capital like a hurricane in a short period of time, shaking all families. Li family suffered a loss, but did not fight back. Who can believe such a thing is true? Similarly, it is bound to make those aristocratic families start to weigh the situation of the Li family again, and even ready to make some provocative moves. There is no doubt that the young man named Yi Tian, though not well known in the past, has set off a storm in the capital. Damn Yi Tian, I won't spare you. Li Cheng angrily took his fist, hit the back of the chair heavily, and growled. Unfortunately, he also knew that his angry roars at this moment were just the rage of the incompetent. Even if he said such cruel words 1,000 times, he could not change Li Fanyuan's turning into a useless man and losing his fertility, and he had nothing to do with Yi Tian, and Li's reputation was ruined at the same time. Yi Tian, with Xiao Yuer and Yan Bing, has returned to Yanhua University. I'll go back first. You'll have a rest early. I'll come to you tomorrow morning to show you the special snacks of Beijing. After Yi Tian is sent to the hotel downstairs, Xiao Yuer waves to Yi Tian, and then skillfully jumps to the campus, looking like she is in a good mood. It seems that your old classmate is in a good mood to see you. Yan Bing looks at Xiao Yuer's back, picks her eyebrows and smiles. She looks at Yi Tian and plays with her taste. Yuer and I had a good relationship in high school. We are brothers who have been tested. Yi Tian chuckles and looks at Xiao Yuer's back. It seems that she is back in high school and sees the lively and lovely girl. Is it? Yan Bing hears the sound and deliberately drags the tone of voice to be low. She asks. As a woman, she can feel that Xiao Yuer's gratitude to Yi Tian, except for the brotherhood accumulated by her classmates, also has a kind of worship, and a kind of sentiment that is very light but can be captured by her. This feeling, very simple, is the feeling of heart. Yan Bing doesn't feel strange about this. After all, in this world, the girl who can't be moved by Yi Tian is rare. Unless, that girl likes girls too. Of course. Yi Tian looks at Yan Bing helplessly and nods confidently. Then you can continue to take it for granted. Yan Bing looks at Yi Tian's determined appearance and can't help laughing. Then she raises her hands, holds her head and walks towards the hotel. Does Xiao Yuer really have other feelings for herself besides her classmates' brotherhood? Yi Tian looks at Yan Bing's appearance and can't help raising his hand and grabbing the back of his head. Then he looks in the direction of Xiao Yuer's departure. He really didn't feel that Xiao Yuer had a good feeling for himself. Was he too slow or was Yan Bing too sensitive? It's not very likely. We are good brothers. Good brothers only engage in foundation work, not object work. Soon, Yi Tian smiles and feels that he has got the answer. Then he turns around and walks into the hotel. However, this short night, Yi Tian had a very long time. To be exact, he had a sentimental, heartbreaking dream, old heart, young body. It's normal to dream, but what's abnormal is that the protagonist's face in his dream, sometimes Ningyao, sometimes Qin Luogod, sometimes Yan Bing, sometimes Xiao Yuer, even Lian Yunfei and Gentle, appears in the dream, messy. When he wakes up, he makes Yi Tian feel particularly embarrassed. He only hates that his body is too disheartened. He even doesn't know how to face Yan Bing later. Wow, who is this guy? He is so lucky to get the confession of a beautiful woman. I'll go. Isn't this Korean Yan Shuejie? Damn, she came out to tell someone? Did I go out without glasses today and get dizzy? It's outrageous. It's outrageous. I've seen it happen for a long time. But at this time, Yi Tian suddenly heard a loud noise from the downstairs of the hotel. He lives on the 4th floor, which is not high, so the movement below can be heard very clearly. When he opened the curtain and looked down, he immediately saw that at this moment, at the gate of the hotel, there was a pretty girl, holding a bunch of roses, standing quietly at the door, as if waiting for someone. Around the girl, there are a lot of boys who are whispering to each other. However, they seem to think it's incredible that the girl confesses to others. It's boring. Yi Tian shook his head speechless. He felt that this way of courting in public was very boring. He was just trying to impress others. Moreover, most of the spectators would shout together when they met such a situation. It was more like one side of the courtship was threatening public opinion and suppressing the other side. If it's mutual affection, it's okay. But if it's the two sides who don't feel too much, it's a kind of embarrassment. Then, he saw Xiao Yuer appear downstairs, wearing a ponytail, a short white t-shirt, jeans. She looks very young. However, seeing Xiao Yuer's cheek, Yi Tian can't help thinking of those pictures last night. His old face is very hot and some of them can't face it. Ding-ling-ling, but at this time, Yi Tian's mobile phone suddenly rings, and when he takes it up to look, he finds that the number on it is Xiao Yuer's. What did she call for? Yi Tian can't help feeling confused. You know, Xiao Yuer knows the room number where he and Yan Bing live. If you want to find him, you can come up directly and never call him downstairs. Yuer, what can I do for you? Although full of doubts, but Yi Tian still took the phone. Doubt asked. Come down quickly, I'll tell you something big. A language falls, along the telephone there, immediately came Xiaoyuer such as the discovery of the new world as excited voice. What's the big deal? Hearing this, Tian pushes open the window and sweeps down the stairs. He doesn't see any sign that the Li family and King Ningzong send people to come. Come down quickly, and you'll know. At this time, Xiaoyuer continued to urge. Okay, I'll be right down. But Tian shakes his head, simply washes his face, changes his clothes, and then walks out of the hotel door. Coincidentally, he just came out and saw Yan Bing coming out. Not only that, Yan Bing obviously seems to have put on makeup. Although she doesn't wear makeup, she is very beautiful. Now, she is more delicate and eye-catching. Xiao, I was just about to ask you to go downstairs for dinner. Now it seems that I don't need to call you anymore. Yan Bing sees this, looking at Yi Tian to smile, then Wei. Don't rush to eat first. Xiaoye is waiting for me downstairs and says there's something big. Yi Tian shook his head with a bitter smile and said. Big deal? Go and have a look. Yan Bing also faced due curious, follow Yi Tian, then hurried down the building. Soon, they walked out of the hotel side by side. As soon as they walked out of the door, Yi Tian saw Xiaoyuer standing in the crowd waving to him. He just wanted to go to say hello, but the next second, he was dull. What the hell? Not only him, but also Yan Bing was shocked. At this moment, standing at the door of the hotel, she is wearing an eye-catching white suspender skirt and wide-leg jeans. She looks slim and slender. The girl holding the rose in her hands is not the drunken girl they saw in Wollaton last night, but who can it be? She saved her last night, and now she appears with a rose in her hand. Naturally, her intention is very clear. Yi Tian. At this time, the girl had already seen Yi Tian. She immediately went to Yi Tian with a happy face and rose in her hand. She put the bouquet forward and said, I want to tell you that I like you. Be my man. Suddenly, the door of the hotel was silent. It's not only Yi Tian who was confused, but Yan Bing who follows Yi Tian is also confused at the moment. She didn't expect that the girl Yi Tian rescued last night appeared at the door of the hotel today, holding a big bunch of roses in her hand and telling Yi Tian about her love. This is too sudden and unbelievable. Damn, I'm really confessing. Korean Yen is confessing to others. I'll go and take a picture of the man. Let's see what's sacred. Doesn't Korean Yen say she doesn't like boys? What's the matter? I've made a confession all of a sudden. I've seen you for a long time. Korean Yen can tell you. Please help me see if the sun is coming out from the west today? Not only the two of them, but also the students of Yenhua University around them were all excited and shocked, and their eyes were full of gossip. Korean Yen, in Yenhua University, can be said to be well known, first-class performance, first-class figure, first-class face, first-class family. These four first-class girls, from the beginning of their enrollment, are the dream goddesses of many male animals in Yenhua University. However, this Korean Yen's character is too strange. She not only speaks to all the pursuers, but also dislikes those who are obsessed with each other. She even scolds those people and thinks of ways to deal with them. They still have fresh memories. In the winter when she first entered school, a conceited junior boy crazily pursued Korean Yen, holding a bunch of roses every day, standing on the dormitory downstairs of Korean Yen, reciting his numb love letters. Korean Yen first hit the boy with 2 fists, but unexpectedly, the next day, the boy limped again. This time, Korean Yen did not beat him again, but took him to the edge of the nameless lake. Everyone thought that it was the boy's sincerity that opened the golden stone of Korean Yen, but it was unexpected that Korean Yen flew up and directly kicked the boy into the nameless lake. Even if that boy fell into the lake, she not only didn't give up, but also grabbed the other people's scalp, pressed into the water and questioned the boy, and dared to harass him under the dormitory building in the future. In winter, I was pressed in the cold and piercing water of the lake, and I was full of the water. I can imagine the end of that boy. Since then, although Korean Yen is the standard of 4 first-class girls, the boys keep a distance from her, and even dare not say 2 more words, for fear of not saying a word, they will be caught and thrown into the nameless lake, and the lake water will be full. Even in Yenhua University, there is a saying that although Korean Yen is a girl, she doesn't like boys at all, but likes girls. But strangely, Korean Yen didn't have any good looks for some girls who learned this saying, and she lost 2 more girls in the nameless lake. Since then, everyone has fully understood that Korean Yen is a cold stone, will not like anyone, regardless of men and women. But now, this cold stone, even want to confess to people, but also holding roses, in public, if this is not seen with my own eyes, who dares to believe that such a thing would be true? Beauty, are you a little impulsive? At this time, Tian stares at Korean Yen and shakes his head speechless. He suspected that the girl chose to express herself in a bold way because of his hero's impulse to save Beauty last night. I'm not impulsive at all. I'm serious and thoughtful. But at this time, Korean Yen is very resolute attitude, and very seriously shook her head, followed closely, and put the rose forward, said, I just like you, do my man. Wow, Korean Yen seems to be serious this time. It seems that she really likes this man. It's incredible. I thought Korean Yen would never like anyone in her life. Unexpectedly, she would like people too. Her words fell, the crowd around immediately boiling, all the students were shocked. Together. Then, along the door of the hotel, there was a lot of noise. No matter those boys or girls, they all clapped their hands crazily and kept clamoring. I hope Tian and Korean Yen can get together. But I have no feelings for you. Tian dodges and avoids the rose from Korean Yen. He just wants to refuse. But looking at the crowd around him, he can only put it in a euphemism, so as not to hurt the girl's self-esteem and stimulate her. What's more, the noise made him feel helpless. When he was just in the room upstairs, he was still using the method of abdominal fei, which was too pitiful. I didn't expect that this wonderful thing happened to him so soon. I don't feel it. I can cultivate it slowly. I'm not in a hurry. Korean Yen handed a blank, but there was no loss. Moore did not give up, but sincerely looked at Tian, loudly, followed closely. Her eyes fell on Yen Bing and Xiaoyuer not far away, looked at them, and then said, You don't accept me, because they are too? If so, you don't have to worry. I don't mind. As long as you are my man, I don't care if there are other people around you. As long as you are with me, your heart is with me. Don't care. Tian is completely confused, and the whole person is a little silly. Rao, he used to be Emperor Dan, but such a scene still made him feel out of control. Not to mention that Yen Bing and Xiaoyuer have nothing to do with him at all, even if they have something to do with each other. The fierce words of Korean Yen are really confusing. Just look at Korean Yen, this very frank appearance. It seems that there is no lie, but from the heart. At the same time, Yen Bing and Xiaoyuer also opened their mouths. For a moment, they didn't know what to say. They have never seen such a tough girl. However, they even admire Korean Yen a little bit, because although she looks very tough, she at least has the courage to say who she likes. Damn, the world is changing too fast. At first I was dreaming. Is this still the Korean Yen? Heaven, earth, who will wake me up and let me know it's a dream? Who's going to call the man who was thrown into the nameless lake, and let him have a look? What's the difference between people? Not only Tian, Xiaoyuer and Yen Bing, but also the students of Yenhua University, were shocked by the fierce words of Korean Yen. One by one, they were stunned, speechless, or shocked. I really like you. I seldom like people, but I just like you. If I like you, I will catch up with you. At this time, Korean Yen looks at Tian and says sincerely again. She has always been resolute in her work. Like is like, don't like is don't like, since like, then brave to chase. Last night, she went to Wollaton for drinking because of some things. As a result, she was harassed. Tian's action moved her and made her feel excited. So, after she woke up, she tried to find a way to investigate all the people called Tian in the capital, and then found Tian's address. Then she dressed herself up, held a bunch of roses, and started to express herself. As for whether Tian would accept it or not, she never thought about it. As for other people's ideas, she doesn't care at all. She doesn't even think about it. Just do something that makes her feel happy. As for what other people think, it doesn't matter. This kind of tough thinking, this kind of tough style, not to mention Yanhua University for several times, even in China for several times, except Korean yen, there are few. But I do mind. Yi Tian looked at Korean yen, shook his head and said, I'm really sorry, I don't feel for you. I appreciate your kindness. Thank you for your love, but now, please leave. You don't even know my name, how can you know you don't feel for me? Korean Yan's eyes are round. She stares at Yi Tian's eyes and says in a loud voice. I know your name. Your name is Han Yuyen. Yi Tian's head is covered with black lines. He is not deaf, just next to the people shouting so many voices, if you do not even know the name, it is not too stupid. Oh, you know. Korean Yen, some embarrassed to mumble a, and then eyes more bright looking at Yi Tian, said, you see, you already know my name, if you can know more about me, maybe you can like me? Sorry, I really don't like you. Please leave. Yi Tian felt helpless for a while. He felt that if he was more implicit, he might not be able to get rid of Korean Yan's obsession. He immediately stiffened his face and said coldly. You really don't like me? I don't mind if you have other girls around you and you don't like me. Korean Yan stare big eyes, looking at Yi Tian, continue to stubborn asked. She thought that with such a beautiful woman as herself, she must be able to capture Yi Tian's love. But what she wanted was that Yi Tian refused so easily. You think too much. They are not my girlfriends. They are just my good friends. And I have a girlfriend. I only like her. Yi Tian is very helpless, looking at Korean Yen, continue to refuse. If you can like her, why can't you like me? You haven't tried. Korean Yen is extremely stubborn, extremely resolute and loud. She had never liked a person before. Now, it is not easy to like a person, but who thought, the other party did not like her, which makes her extremely unwilling, also played a competitive heart, want to conquer Yi Tian, let Yi Tian like her. Last night, Yi Tian's means to clean up those guys who plot against her are too strong. The strong androgen is something she has never seen in other boys. Hero saves beauty. She gives her heart to Yi Tian without hesitation. Yi Tian has a big head. He knows that when some boys chase girls, they will be dogged. But unexpectedly, there are still such dogged girls, and even he regrets that he personally rescued Korean Yen last night. If Xiao Yuer or Yen Bing is allowed to come out, there will be no such trouble. I've collected your flowers, and I've got your good intentions, but I really don't like you. Please go back. Yi Tian sighs helplessly, and thinks that since it doesn't work whether he refuses euphemistically or directly, he plans to use another method to leave the flowers for Korean Yen and send people away first, so that he won't be like a monkey at the moment. I was surrounded by people to watch monkey play. No, you can't take her flowers, let alone like him. But at this time, along the back of the crowd, suddenly came a shout of anger, followed by a young man in a white suit, handsome face, suddenly stabbed out of the crowd, opened his hands, stood in front of Yi Tian and Han Yuyen, vigilantly looking at Yi Tian, said, Wow, it's exciting. There are still people coming out to stop it. Is this the pursuer of Korean Yen? Lively. Come on, when you meet your rival, fight first and fight noisily. When the onlookers saw this scene, they immediately made a lot of noise. The fire of gossip on their faces was almost burning out. Hit a fart, hit, this is the elder brother of Korean Yen, the love enemy of wool, you really think too much. But at this time, someone who knows more about Korean Yan's family recognized the identity of the people, sneered at the onlookers, and then secretly rubbed and said, however, looking at Han Dishao's aggressive appearance, it's not like he came to help his sister chase people, but like he came to beat Yuan Yang, beat people. Brother, what are you doing here? Han Xiaofeng. At this time, when you see the white suit boy, Korean Yen and Yi Tian's voice rings at the same time. This young man in a white suit was Han Xiaofeng, who was beaten down by Qin Luoshan at his last birthday party. You know my brother? Korean Yen heard Yi Tian's words, her face was surprised, looking at Yi Tian Dao. More than recognition? It can be said that it's an old friendship. Hearing this, Yi Tian smiles and looks at Han Xiaofeng. He says, Han Dishao, don't you think so? Yi Tian, I warn you, stay away from my sister, otherwise, I will be rude to you. Han Xiaofeng hears Yi Tian's words, his face turns white immediately, and then looks at him, threatening every word. You're welcome? How do you want to be rude to me? Yi Tian picks an eyebrow to smile, looking at Han Xiaofeng lightway. Last night, he taught Li Fanyuan a lesson. He just didn't feel very happy. Now, Han Xiaofeng himself sent him to the door. Just as he dozed off, someone gave him hot bedclothes and soft pillows. It can be said that he came to whatever he wanted. Han Xiaofeng clenches his teeth and looks at the bodyguards behind him. He wants them to clean up Yi Tian. Han Xiaofeng, I warn you to stay away from Yi Tian Yuan, otherwise I will be rude to you. I said, how can Yi Tian dislike me? It turns out that Han Xiaofeng, you stinky guy, is the reason why he dislikes me. But without waiting for Han Xiaofeng to open her mouth, Han Yuyan suddenly grabbed Han Xiaofeng's neckline, gave a loud drink in a bad tone, then looked at Yi Tian and said, Yi Tian, he is him, I am me, I am different from him, you can't dislike me because you have prejudice against him. You. Han Xiaofeng looks at the indignant Korean yen, and then at the smiling Yi Tian. His head is buzzing and frying at once. Korean Yan's pursuit of people standing under the hotel has spread to the Han family. Many people save their pictures from Yan's circle of friends and microblog and throw them into the family group. At first Han Xiaofeng thought it was Korean Yan's joking, so he didn't take it seriously. But when he saw that the person in the photo was Yeho, his nerves immediately tightened. For him, Korean Yan can like anyone, but she can't like his arch-rival Yi Tian. So, she drove to Yanhua University for the first time to stop it. When he just arrived, he just saw Yi Tian reach out to pick up the roses. He thought Yi Tian agreed to Korean Yan to be together, so he rushed to stop her. Listen to the meaning of the words now, it seems that his sister is pursuing Yi Tian, but was rejected. This discovery let him feel happy for this result, but also can't help a little stupefied. You know, Korean Yan is the daughter of the Han family, first-class appearance, first-class figure, first-class performance, such a girl, what people do not like, but Yi Tian turned down, this is the mother does not look up to the Han family. Han Xiaofeng, you leave immediately. At this time, Korean Yan yelled at Han Xiaofeng angrily, then looked at Yi Tian prayingly and said, if you don't like me because of his relationship, then you don't have to worry. If you don't like him, I can get rid of the brother-sister relationship with him. Damn, Korean Yan, are you crazy? Han Xiaofeng heard this, the whole person is about to be angry, silly, wheezing, panting, lungs are about to explode. Xin Luoshan likes Yi Tian, even if he does, but his sister likes Yi Tian, and even says that if Yi Tian is willing to like her, he will break away from his brother and sister. It's more than heart-piercing. It's thousands of rusty blunt knives. They're pulling and cutting heart slowly. You crazy girl, you are really crazy. Don't make a fool of yourself here. Come home with me at once. Han Xiaofeng took a few breaths, and then recovered. Looking at the strange eyes of the people around him, he grabbed Korean Yan's arm and dragged her out. I'm not crazy. Korean Yan, however, forced her arm out of his hand, looked at Han Xiaofeng, and said in a loud voice, Han Xiaofeng, from now on, I will officially break off the relationship between brother and sister with you. If you interfere with who I like, or because you make the person I like dislike me, don't blame me for being rude to you. Officially cut off the relationship between brother and sister. Korean Yan this sound, let the surrounding immediately with fried pot, all the onlookers, the eyes of the 8 trigrams of the fire are burning. Today's play is really one wave after another, shocking to the extreme. First of all, Korean Yan, a fierce woman who can throw her pursuers into the nameless lake, ran out to catch up with the boys. Second, Korean Yan, who has first-class performance, first-class appearance, first-class body and first-class family background, was rejected. Third, Han Xiaofeng jumped out to stop her sister from showing her love to Yi Tian. Now, more powerful dramas are coming out. Korean Yan is the best, the boy he likes is going to break up the relationship between brother and sister with Han Xiaofeng. This is more fierce than the spring tide of Qiantang River. I dare not shoot TV series like this. Not to mention the onlookers, even Yi Tian can't help feeling a little confused at the moment. Korean Yan, you are really crazy. Han Xiaofeng was stunned for a long time. He looked at the look of the onlookers, and then looked at the Korean Yan. Shaking, he raised his hand, pointed to her and yelled. It's none of your business whether I'm crazy or not. It's none of your business whether I'm crazy or not. Korean Yen didn't pay attention to Han Xiaofeng's words at all. She turned her head to one side, and her face was indifferent. Ha ha ha, it has nothing to do with me? Well, you said it yourself. Don't regret it. Han Xiaofeng hears the sound, stares at Korean Yen, and then laughs loudly. Then he looks at Yi Tian with a ferocious sneer and says, since you don't listen to me, I'll continue to like him and watch him die. To die? The onlookers were all stunned and raised their ears. It seems that Han Xiaofeng's words are more powerful. Han Xiaofeng, what do you mean? I warn you, if you dare to do harm to Yi Tian, I'll be the first to let you go. Korean Yen is also become nervous, pointing to Han Xiaofeng, deep voice scolded. I'm not good for him? Silly sister, let me tell you, I don't need to do anything at all. Now someone wants him dead. Han Xiaofeng stares at Yi Tian with a ferocious sneer, and then says faintly, you may not know that Yi Tian, who you like, breaks Li Fangyuan's hands and feet, making him a useless man. Moreover, according to the news from the hospital, Li Fangyuan has no ability of humanity in the future. What? Han Xiaofeng, this words fall, the crowd immediately like fried pot, all people are boiling, eyes stare big, can't believe looking at Yi Tian. Who is Li Fangyuan? He is the successor of the Li family in Yanjing. He is one of the top families in Yanjing. In the past, only Li Fangyuan bullied people in Yanjing. No one dared to touch him. But now, he has been abandoned and even lost his fertility. This kind of news is no less than a magnitude 8 earthquake. Closely following, all people's eyes, immediately some sympathy toward Yi Tian looked in the past. It is generally acknowledged that Li Fangyuan is a rubbish, and it is also true that people who want to clean up Li Fangyuan are catching up. But even so, Li Fangyuan has been in Yanhua University for 4 years, but no one dares to touch his finger. The reason is very simple, because the Li family is too strong. No one who has offended the Li family has ever come to a good end. Needless to say, Yi Tian has made Li Fangyuan look like that. As you can imagine, the Li family must be thinking of ways to revenge Yi Tian. Under such circumstances, Han Xiaofeng said that Yi Tian was doomed, but he was not wrong. After all, as long as the Li family want to clean up the people, has never failed, and the end without exception is extremely tragic. No way, you're lying to me. Korean Yan's face immediately became nervous when she heard the sound. Looking at Han Xiaofeng, she shook her head and did not dare to set the channel. She is a member of the Han family in the capital. Naturally, she knows that the Li family is very good. Although the Han family is also good, it is still a little behind the Li family. Why do I have to lie to you? Han Xiaofeng sneered, then looked at Yi Tian and said, if you don't believe me, ask him. Let him tell you whether what I said is true or false. Yi Tian, Han Xiaofeng is cheating me, isn't he? Korean Yen smelled speech, hastily toward Yi Tian looked, full of hope Yi Tian denied this paragraph. He didn't lie to you. I did what happened to Li Fangyuan, just after I saved you last night. Yi Tian shrugged casually, light way. Boom! Korean Yen heard the sound, immediately feel like there is a thunder in the head, the whole brain is in a crazy buzz. It's not just her. The students of Yanhua University all look creepy. They look at Yi Tian with tremor, and even pour out cold air. There are a lot of people who want to clean up Li Fangyuan, but Yi Tian is the only one who can really do it. This guy is really a tough guy. However, after getting Yi Tian's personal confirmation, people feel shocked and look at him with more sympathy. There are even many people who look at him in the same way as they look at a dead man. Korean Yen, if you have a little brain, you should leave with me right now. Today's event will never happen, and I won't mention half a word to my family. If you still don't understand and can't get involved with him clearly, then don't blame me for being rude and telling my family about it. Han Xiaofeng looks at the crowd's appearance, and looks at the Korean Yen. He threatens in a deep voice. You go, we're not fit. Yi Tian is afraid that Korean Yen will not go now. He looks at her in a hurry and says in a deep voice. He can see that Korean Yen seems to have a fear of the Li family. Maybe this is an opportunity for her to leave. No, you saved me. I can't leave you alone when something happens to you now. But to Yi Tian's surprise, after hearing this, Korean Yen was silent a little. Then she shook her head, looked at Han Xiaofeng and said, Brother, I know you have a good relationship with Li Fangyuan. Can you discuss this matter with him and let the Li family not pursue it? This girl, it's kind of interesting. Hearing this, Yi Tian can't help looking at Korean Yen in astonishment. He has just seen that Korean Yen has a fear of the Li family, but now, when she learns that she has cleaned up Li Fangyuan, she is not in a hurry to clean up her relationship with herself, but to help herself find a solution. It can be seen that the girl's nature is quite right. This crooked neck tree of the Han family has grown a good seedling. However, surprise to surprise, but Yi Tian heart, to Korean Yen, still do not have that aspect of the idea. Korean Yen, you are really crazy. You can speak such crazy words. Would you forgive someone for wasting your limbs and preventing you from having children? When Han Xiaofeng heard this, he was speechless. He shook his head and sneered. Korean Yen wry smile. How could she not know that what she had just said was too unrealistic? However, she didn't know what else she could do to help Yi Tian. Don't be paranoid anymore. He has offended the Li family and is dead. Han Xiaofeng looks at Korean Yen coldly, continues to sneer, and then looks at Yi Tian mockingly. Can you let Dad come out and help him? Even if it's not because I like him, he saved me last night. If it wasn't for him, my innocence would be gone. Korean Yen grabbed Han Xiaofeng's arm, looked forward to it, and said, Brother, help me. Now you know I'm your brother? Han Xiaofeng looked at the Korean Yen's appearance, sneered twice, and said, I tell you, it's useless for you to find anyone about this matter, and Dad won't help him. It's him who finds his own way out. If you like him, look at him more. After a while, you may not see him. Korean Yen tearful, painful, and lost looking at Yi Tian. Yi Tian looks at the appearance of Korean Yen, but he is helpless. He wanted to drive away Korean Yen by this thing, but who knows, Korean Yen would be like this. Although he doesn't feel Korean Yen, he says that he is not touched at all. That's a guy. Is it? Yi Tian thought of this, suddenly pick eyebrow smile, light way, you put the Li family said so much, but I was hit last night Li Fangyuan, after so long, Li's trouble, how can not come to me? Yes, Yi Tian beat Li Fangyuan last night. Li family's revenge, why didn't he come to the door and let him stand here? Yi Tian this sentence, let Han Xiaofeng involuntarily froze. Ha, why? It's just that the Li family didn't know you lived here, so they didn't come here. Han Xiaofeng was stunned. Then he burst out laughing, pointed to Yi Tian and said, if you have seed, just stand here and don't run. I'll call the Li family right away and ask them to clean you up. By then, you'll know how to write dead words. Just call. If I leave, I'll follow your last name. Yi Tian shrugs his shoulders and looks at Han Xiaofeng with a flat look. Did the Li family come to trouble him? Joke. As long as Lu Bufan didn't come to Yinjing, even if he borrowed the courage of the Li family, they didn't dare to move themselves. Unless, they don't want to live. Well, you have seed. I hope you can be as seed as you are now when the Li family comes here. Han Xiaofeng listens to Yi Tian's calm words and sneers. He immediately takes out his mobile phone, finds out Li Cheng's number and dials it. Han Xiaofeng, hang up the phone right now. Otherwise, I will really break up the relationship with you. Korean Yen smell speech, immediately anxious, looking at Han Xiaofeng, loud block way. Whatever you want. Han Xiaofeng sneers and ignores Korean Yen's words. Korean Yen bites her teeth and immediately rushes up to snatch the mobile phone from Han Xiaofeng's hand, so that he can't give Li Jiatonfeng a message. Let him fight at will. Some people just don't give up until they reach the Yellow River. Seeing this, Yi Tian raises her hand, grabs Korean Yen's arm, looks at her and shakes her head. But that's the Li family. Korean Yen looked at Yi Tian in panic, trembling. What happened to the Li family? Yi Tian light smile, calm way, in the eyes of others, the Li family is a dragon, but in my eyes, the Li family is a worm. The Li family is a worm. Korean Yen was stunned and looked at Yi Tian in disbelief. She has heard a lot of big talk, but she has never heard anything so outrageous. If the Li family are all worms, how many families in the world can be called dragons? I don't know how capable this man is, but the tone of his voice is definitely bigger than heaven. The Li family is a striped insect. I'll go. If the Li family is really a striped insect, how big is the insect, from the South 5th Ring Road to the North 5th Ring Road? God man. I'm afraid he doesn't know what the Li family is capable of. It's not just Korean yen. The students who are watching around are also shocked by Yi Tian's words, shaking their heads one by one. Korean yen Rai smile, just want to explain with Yi Tian, but looking at Yi Tian's calm eyes, to the mouth, suddenly stopped. She can see that Yi Tian's words don't seem to be boasting, because his eyes are very clean and calm. Such eyes are absolutely not what the arrogant people can have. The only explanation is that Yi Naivete doesn't pay attention to the Li family, and thinks that the Li family can't do anything about him. Closely following, her vision, can't help but lower, toward the leaf day grasps the hand of own arm to sweep. I just want to stop you. I don't mean anything else. Don't think too much about it. At this time, Yi Tian saw Korean Yan's expression, embarrassed smile, quickly released his hand. Now he is really afraid of Korean Yan, very worried about his pull, and give her any misunderstanding, and then pester himself. Although, this girl's character is good, but just met, he is not the first horse on the stallion, really don't like it. Hello, Uncle Li, I'm Xiaofeng, Fong Yuan's good friend. I heard that Fong Yuan is in hospital. Uncle Li, you must be in a hurry now. Korean Yan just want to say a few words, but along not far away, came Han Xiaofeng dial the phone, and Li Cheng in the voice. Korean Yan hears the sound, quickly stops the sound, and then nervously looks to Han Xiaofeng. Not only she, but also her classmates all look at Han Xiaofeng nervously. They want to know what kind of reaction Li Cheng, the owner of the Li family, will have when Han Xiaofeng tells Li Cheng that the person who heard Li Fong Yuan is just after Yanhua University. Uncle Li, it's like this. I came to Yanhua University today to do something. Guess who I saw? I saw Yi Tian who heard Fong Yuan. This boy is so arrogant. He looks like he has nothing to fear. He just said, Uncle Li, you don't dare to do anything to him. You also said that the Li family is a worm. Han Xiaofeng sees people's eyes, looks at Yi Tian provocatively, and then says all of Yi Tianyang's words. Moreover, when he said these words, he found that Yi Tian was so good at blowing that he didn't need to add oil and vinegar at all. He just needed to repeat what Yi Tian had said, and he could make Li Cheng so angry that he wanted to slap Yi Tian to death. Hello, Uncle Li, hello. But at this time, a scene that Han Xiaofeng didn't expect appeared. Li Cheng, who was on the opposite side of the phone, listened to his words, but didn't say a word, so he simply hung up the phone. Is the call over? I don't know what attitude the Li family has. Yi Tian looks at Han Xiaofeng's appearance, eyebrow tipped lightly a yang, pondered a smile away. I'll tell you, you're dead. Wait and see. Uncle Li will show you. The people of Li's family will be here soon, and they will let you know how to write the word of death. Han Xiaofeng heard this, holding a mobile phone, pointing to Yi Tian, yelled. As far as he thinks, the reason why Li Cheng simply hung up the phone is very simple. It's because Li Cheng has been extremely angry. He doesn't want to spend a word more. After hanging up the phone, he went to find those powerful guys in the Li family and came to Yanhua University to clean up Yi Tian. Yes? Then wait and see. Yi Tian shrugs casually, then turns around and walks towards the hotel. What are you doing? Don't you mean you're not going anywhere? Want to run? What's wrong? Han Xiaofeng smelled speech, quickly strode to catch up, looking at Yi Tian, loud voice. Run? Why? Please don't put your own characteristics on me. With a faint smile, Yi Tian grabbed 2 stools, walked out of the hotel, threw them into the shade, and said with a smile, I just think the sun is very good today. It's not hot or cold. It's very comfortable to bask in the sun. Move a chair to bask in the sun for a while. Ha ha. When Han Xiaofeng hears the news, he immediately looks at Yi Tian and sneers. He just thinks that Yi Tian is talking nonsense. But the next second, Yi Tian actually unfolded the chair, and then the old god leaned on the chair so casually, crossed his legs, narrowed his eyes, and basked in the sun. It's not like waiting for others to find trouble. Instead, it's like retired veteran cadres enjoying life happily. You. This scene led Han Xiaofeng completely confused. He thought Yi Tian was afraid to walk, but look like this, Yi Naivete is not afraid at all. Wait, I'll see you in a few minutes. But immediately after that, Han Xiaofeng sneered and put down a few cruel words. Then he turned his head and looked towards the school gate, waiting for the Li family to come and clean up Yi Tian, so as to calm down the evil spirit in his heart. By the way, let his silly sister see what kind of people she likes. It's not worthy to carry shoes for them. I'll see. Yi Tian smiles casually, leans on the reclining chair and looks at Han Xiaofeng, who jumps up and down leisurely, just like watching monkey opera. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, time disappeared in a flash, and soon, 20 minutes passed, but the direction at the gate of Yanhua University was still quiet, not to mention a large group of people who Han Xiaofeng was looking forward to rushing in, even without a few more cars. Han Daxiao, it seems that the speed of the Li family is slow. Don't they hate me? Seeing this, Yi Tian smiles and looks at Han Xiaofeng, playing with the taste. Don't be sarcastic. What do you know about the traffic jam on the capital road? Han Xiaofeng is flustered in the heart, turned round to stare at Yi Tian one eye, then Wei, maybe the traffic jam on the road, they blocked in the middle of the road. Oh, it turned out to be a traffic jam, so wait. Yi Tian hears Han Xiaofeng's words, picks eyebrow to smile at will, light Wei. Han Xiaofeng turned his head and looked at the school gate, hoping that the next second, the people of the Li family would appear at the school gate, and then fiercely kill Yi Tian, beating him black and blue, looking for teeth, and killing his arrogance. However, no matter how he looked forward to it, the school gate was still quiet, not even a trace of movement. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, in the blink of an eye, another 10 minutes had passed. Plus the 20 minutes, it was half an hour since Han Xiaofeng called Li Chang. I'll go. If there's a traffic jam, it's a little too long. Even if I'm walking, I've come here. Yes, the Li family is so powerful that it's not necessary to send someone from the traffic jam place. Li family, don't you dare to come? With the passage of time, the surrounding students began to murmur. Yanjing is often in traffic jams, which is true. But who is the Li family, who will be baffled by such trifles as traffic jams? And according to the resentment between Yi Tian and Yi's family, if they really intend to revenge Yi Tian, even if they use helicopters to transport people, they dare to do it. After all, as we all know, Li Fangyuan is the future successor of the Li family. Now he has been beaten by Yi Tian into a disabled man and has lost his fertility. This hatred can definitely be worth the 4 words of blood in blood. The Li family is also famous for its revenge, which never happens overnight. This time, not only every other night, but also others reported the location of the culprit, but they did not take action. You know shit. Han Xiaofeng listened to these miscellaneous voices, furious, yelled at the group of people, and then turned his head and looked at Yi Tian. When he saw Yi Tian still lying on the couch with a funny smile on his face, he couldn't help cluttering in his heart, and some bad premonitions came out. Li family doesn't really dare to come, does it? No way, how can this be possible? There is nothing the Li family dare not do in this world. But soon, Han Xiaofeng gave up the idea, and continued to look at the school gate, looking forward to it, just like a crop seedling waiting for rain after a long drought. But as time goes by, even the sun has climbed a step. After a full hour, the school gate is still quiet, and there are not many ants coming in. It's been an hour, Li's family. They won't come. Damn, the Li family didn't dare to trouble him. What's the origin of him? He's so arrogant. The Li family in Yanjing, whose son has been beaten, disabled, and even lost his fertility, dare not even retaliate? Even if Han Xiaofeng called Li Chang and announced Yi Tian's location, it didn't make any sense. Those people in the Li family would never appear in front of Yi Tian. After all, if they were to show up, they would have come long ago. It's just that the result is unbelievable. Everyone in Yanjing knows the strength of the Li family and that the Li family is famous. If you are a future successor of the Li family like Li Fangyuan, you will never give up. You have to come to the door and ask for an explanation. But now, the successor of the next generation of the Li family has been beaten to be a eunuch, and even dare not retaliate. What does this show? It only shows one thing, that is, Tian is a big man who can't even be provoked by the Li family in Yanjing. However, they have never heard of the Yi family, and they know that Tian is from the South China Sea. The Li family is afraid of Tian, which is really puzzling. What's the matter? What the hell is going on? Is this the advice of the Li family? Those watching students are still like this, not to mention Han Xiaofeng. His forehead, at this moment, is already a layer of sweat, and his heart suddenly becomes completely bottomless. Especially when he saw the bold smile on Tian's face, he was more sure of this idea and guess in his heart. Han Dishao, it's been an hour. Is the Li family coming or not? I haven't had breakfast yet. Why don't you call and ask me if they are still in traffic jam on the road and give me a happy talk to see when they are coming? If not, I'll have breakfast first and let them beat me when they come back? At this time, Tian picks Han Xiaofeng's eyebrows and smiles. Puff. Those students around, hearing Tian's words, couldn't help laughing. Tian is making it clear that he is teasing Han Xiaofeng and the Li family. Now that they are not here, Bai Ming won't come. What traffic jam is pure bullshit. Don't be arrogant to me. I'll call you again. You'll soon know their strength. Han Xiaofeng listens to the snickering around him. His face is blue. He grits his teeth and takes out his mobile phone. He calls Li Cheng again. He wants to ask if Li Cheng has just missed the call. The person sent by him has gone to the wrong school. Doodle sorry, the number you dialed is not answered for the time being. But Han Xiaofeng, a phone call in the past, it is a string of busy tone, no one answered. Don't answer the phone? Han Xiaofeng is confused, turns his head and looks at Tian in disbelief. Han Dashao, if you really want me to wait here, or you can buy me a breakfast and bring it here. Don't worry. The sun is very warm here. I will never leave. See his vision sweep, Leaf Day pick eyebrow to ponder a smile, looking at him, light way. You wait for me. Han Xiaofeng's eyes kept changing, gnashing his teeth for a long time, and then pressed the number again. Sorry, the number you dialed is on the line, I'm sorry. Just this time, the phone dials, the response changes again, the beep only rings twice, followed by the cold and polite mechanical female voice. I'll go, this is my number. It's Black. Han Xiaofeng is not a fool, or do not know the voice of the strange, without thinking, immediately dialed the past again. But unfortunately, different from his full expectations, waiting for him, is still 2 beeps, and then the busy tone hang up. Obviously, he didn't guess wrong, Li Cheng, he did black out his number. As for the reason for pulling black, even if he thought about it with his toes, he could figure it out. Except that Li Cheng didn't want to hear the name of Tian from him, there was absolutely no other possibility. Similarly, it also means that the Li family completely gave up their revenge on Tian. This time, the family, which has never been punished, is going to swallow the bad breath as if nothing had happened. It's just, why did the Li family do this? Han Xiaofeng's head is buzzing, especially when he turns his head and looks at Tian in disbelief. When he sees the playful smile on the other side's face, he feels that he has been slapped in the face. His eyes are full of stars, his ears are buzzing, and he wants to be demented. Ding-ling-ling, ding-ling-ling. Just then, his mobile phone suddenly rang. When he picked it up with joy, he was surprised to see that it was not Li Cheng's number, but his father's phone. After he got through suspiciously, he immediately heard a cold cry like a storm on the other side of the phone. Xiaofeng, I remember you had offended a man before Tian's young man, I tell you, go to apologize to him immediately, let bygones be bygones. This young man, too terrible, abandoned Li Fengyuan, eunuch, the Li family even swallowed up, even the people behind them, there is no action. This kind of person, the Li family can't be provoked, our Han family can't be provoked even more, you go to do it for me immediately, no matter it's kneeling and kowtowing, or whatever, you must eliminate this friction. Dad, what are you talking about? Han Xiaofeng heard his father's big crosstalk, the whole person completely confused, head buzzing, dare not set channel. Let yourself go to find Tian to apologize, and no matter kneel and kowtow, or whatever, you must eliminate the friction. Han Xiaofeng really can't believe that this remark came from his father's mouth. Find Yi Tian for me at once, and solve the previous misunderstanding, otherwise, you don't have to go back to Han's home. When Han Fu heard this, he gave a cold hum and immediately repeated what he had just said. Besides, he hung up without waiting for him to say anything more. Sorry. To Yi Tian. Han Xiaofeng listens to the busy tone on the other side of the phone, and involuntarily turns his head and looks at Yi Tian. Although the people of the Li family have not yet appeared, which has made him feel that the Li family probably has to swallow their anger, there is still a hesitation in his heart, but his father's words have completely confirmed his conjecture. Han Daxiao, are you coming or not? If you don't, I'll buy breakfast. At this time, Yi Tian picks Han Xiaofeng's eyebrows and laughs. Ha ha ha, no one is coming. I'm Brother Yi. You're just joking. Let these ignorant guys know about Brother Yi. Let them understand that even the Li family is just a tiny caterpillar in front of you. Han Xiaofeng heard this, excited, lingering a shiver, and then immediately showed a flattering smile on his face, trotted to Yi Tian, with a smile on his face, and said, Brother Yi, do you want to eat breakfast? What do you want to eat? Soybean milk fried dough sticks, steamed buns, fried liver, or bean juice jiuquan? What do you want to eat? Say, I'll drive to buy it right away. It's definitely a time-honored brand. I'll send it to you the first time. Han Xiaofeng is going to buy breakfast for Yi Tian? Han Xiaofeng's words made all the students around him look silly. Whatever a fool, at this moment can see that Han Xiaofeng is trying to please Yi Tian, and he doesn't want to be shameful at all. Not to mention these people, even Korean yen looks silly. An hour ago, Han Xiaofeng was still shouting to show Yi Tian how to write the word deaf. It's only an hour since then. His attitude has changed so much that he is crying to buy breakfast for Yi Tian. Well, how can I help you? You'd better call the Li family again to see when the person who called me will arrive. Yi Tiantiao eyebrows light smile, play taste. Brother Yi, I've just lost my mind. All my words are crazy. Please let go of my words. You say, what kind of breakfast do you want? I'll buy it for you right away. As long as I want to eat, even if I fly to buy it, I will send it to you. Han Xiaofeng's face is full of supplication. He looks at Yi Tian with flattery. After a cry, he turns his head to look at Korean Yen and says in a loud voice, Yu Yin, what are you still doing? Don't you see Brother Yi lying here? Come and pinch his shoulder, pinch his leg and beat his back right away. Han Xiaofeng is really shameless. He even used the beauty trick and gave his sister to Yi Tian. The onlookers, now completely dull, looked at Han Xiaofeng in a daze and almost suspected that he had hallucination. You know, not long ago, it was this guy who forced Korean Yen to leave. Even if Han Yuyen took out the condition of breaking away from the brother-sister relationship to coerce, it was totally useless. Even in order to force Korean Yen to leave Yi Tian, he called the Li family and asked the Li family to send someone to clean up Yi Tian. But now, it's all upside down. Not to mention these people, Korean Yen is also a bit dull, and then angrily looking at Han Xiaofeng, hate to give him a few punches. She likes Yi Tiangui and Yi Tian, but it's not for the benefit of her family. She just likes Yi Tian. But now, Han Xiaofeng's words make people feel that she pursues Yi Tian for the sake of coveting Yi Tian. Han Xiaofeng, I think you are really a fool. Even Yi Tian was laughed by Han Xiaofeng. After staring at him, he shook his head in silence. Is it a person to please a good person and to punish his sister? Yes, I'm a fool, a big fool to the core. Han Xiaofeng, hearing the speech, nodded in a hurry, then slapped his face twice, continued to flatter Yi Tian and said, Brother Yi, you see I'm so stupid, just let me go as a fart. I promise that I will never make a detour when I see you in the future, and I will never dare to do anything wrong. Otherwise, I will not say a word to you if you want to clean me up or kill me. There is something wrong with Han Xiaofeng's current situation. The onlookers, looking at Han Xiaofeng's flattering expression, suddenly realized that the phone call Han Xiaofeng had just received might have determined the answer to the sudden change of the scene. They were extremely curious about what was said in the phone call. You want me to forgive you, don't you? Simple, I don't want you to be like Li Fan Yuan. In this way, you kneel down and slap yourself 50 times. As long as you are willing to do so, we can cancel all the festivals between us. Yi Tian looks at Han Xiaofeng's appearance and picks his eyebrows. He knew that it must be the people of the Han family who knew the truth and called Han Xiaofeng. Otherwise, the grandson would not be as clever as he is now. However, this is exactly what Yi Tian wants. Don't you like to be in the limelight, Han Xiaofeng? Let's be in the limelight today. Brother Yi. Han Xiaofeng heard, immediately trembling to see Yi Tian, want to please too, let Yi Tian change away. Kneel down to Yi Tian in front of so many people and slap himself 50 times. As long as he does it now, there is no doubt that it will spread all over the dandy circle in Yanjing in less than half an hour. At that time, what face does he have to meet his friends? It's strange that they don't laugh at him to death. He really can't do such a thing. If you don't want to, forget it. I never force people. But that's my way. With a faint smile, Yi Tian glanced at Han Xiaofeng's hands, feet and the middle of his legs. His way, that is to break hands and feet, let people become eunuchs? Looking at Yi Tian's eyes, Han Xiaofeng only feels that every time he sweeps a place, that place is like being pulled by a knife. There is a feeling of pain to the bone marrow. Especially when Yi Tian swept between his legs, it made him feel that his lower body was trembling, and he almost didn't pee. He likes beautiful women most, but he doesn't want to be like Li Fan Yuan. He becomes a eunuch when he is young. Yuyan, please help my brother and plead for me. You were so kind that you don't want your brother to become a disabled eunuch. Do you think of here? Han Xiaofeng hurried to Korean Yan. Look, pitiful, hope she can help himself. A few words. Brother, you really have to suffer a little and learn a long lesson. You didn't help me just now, and I won't help you now. Korean Yen shakes her head and stands far away. Han Xiaofeng always likes to hang out with a group of friends, and he is unscrupulous because of the Han family. If he can suffer a little, it's not a bad thing for him. I just gave you an hour. Now I'll give you another minute. Think it over. I don't have much time. At this time, Yi Tian stretched a stretch, looking at Han Xiaofeng, light way. Han Xiaofeng, sweating like rain, looks at Yetian and looks at Yayan. He bites his teeth and closes his eyes. He ignores everything. With a puff, he kneels down in front of Yetian. Pop. Immediately after that, he slapped himself in the face. Pop. 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 With a clear slap in his face, Han Xiaofeng's cheek soon had 5 bright red blood marks, and his mouth was dripping with blood. I go. Han Xiaofeng is afraid of Yi Tian. He slaps himself in the face, and he's so heavy. Those who eat melon crowd, at this moment has been completely shocked, one by one gaping, face of disbelief. Han Xiaofeng is also a student of Yanhua University. They know this guy very well and know that he loves face most. But now, he kneels in front of Yi Tian and grovels. It can be said that he has lost all his face. In the future, he will never lift his head in front of his friends. But the more so, the more it shows that Han Xiaofeng is really afraid of Yi Tian. And in Han Xiaofeng's mind, I'm afraid that if he doesn't humiliate himself, the result waiting for him will be more tragic than now. Don't say as these eat melon public, even leaf day oneself, all have some to be in a daze. He just put forward the request, is to deliberately embarrass Han Xiaofeng, let this guy refuse, and then personally punish him. But he really didn't expect that Han Xiaofeng, who was so counseled, actually fell down on his knees and slapped himself in the face. Moreover, he also slapped so hard that he didn't even have the chance to say that his strength was too light. However, this guy is a wise man. Otherwise, if you slap him in the face, all the teeth in his mouth will be gone. Brother Yi, I'm sorry. I know I'm wrong. I swear that I will never dare to. At this time, Han Xiaofeng crackled and slapped his ears, and his eyes were full of stars. Like 2 sausages, his lips were rotten, and his ears were buzzing, just like a nest bee. But even so, he didn't dare to calm down, so he looked at Yi Tian in a hurry and begged. Han Xiaofeng, I'm wrong. You're not a fool. You're a smart man. Yi Tian looks at Han Xiaofeng's head like a pig's head, gently shakes his head, and then says with emotion. No, brother Yi, I'm a fool. If I'm not stupid, I won't offend you. When Han Xiaofeng heard this, he thought Yi Tian was saying something ironic. He almost cried. Looking at Yi Tian, he trembled with panic. Forget it. Get out of here. Don't show up in front of me again. Yi Tian looks at Han Xiaofeng and waves his hand in boredom, indicating that Han Xiaofeng can go away. In fact, Han Xiaofeng didn't do anything wrong, so he planned to punish Han Xiaofeng at the beginning. However, since this guy has already cleaned himself up, and he has let go, he doesn't care about so much anymore. He doesn't mind raising his hand and letting this guy disappear. Thank you, Brother Yi, thank you, Brother Yi. Han Xiaofeng nodded his head and bowed his waist in a hurry to thank him again and again. Then he turned around and rushed out of the crowd. When he came to Han Yuyan, he grabbed her by the wrist and said in a deep voice, "Sister, no matter what method you use, you can take Brother Yi down for me. I'll count on you for the rest of my life." Han Xiaofeng. Korean Yen Lu's eyebrows stand up and her chest is puffing. If Han Xiaofeng's face is not as swollen as a pig's head, she would like to slap him again. What does this guy think of himself as? Is it something to buy Yi Tian in exchange for benefits? Fierce, what fierce? Han Xiaofeng stares, just want to take some of his brother's prestige out, but then think of Yi Tian behind him, excite lingling a shiver, humming, "Look at you are Yi Ji's future woman's share, I won't care about you, remember my words, must take Yi Gu." Korean Yen is completely speechless, clenching her teeth and clenching her fists tightly. Han Xiaofeng saw this, hurriedly turned and ran, for fear that Yi Tian suddenly changed his mind, called him back, and then cleaned up. He hasn't played enough, but he doesn't want to become a big waste who needs to spend the rest of his life in a wheelchair and can't be humane like Li Fan Yuan. Yi Tian. Korean Yenhan looked at the direction of Han Xiaofeng's departure, stomped heavily, then turned her head, looked at Yi Tian with complicated eyes, picked up the flowers on the ground, put them in front of Yi Tian, and then said, "Today is too chaotic, I'll go first, but I still say that, I'll make you like me." Words fall, Korean Yen ignored the eyes and sight of those around, turned and walked into the crowd. This Korean Yen is really different from Han Xiaofeng. She is a brother and sister. She's totally different. Yi Tian looks at Korean Yan's back and nods slightly, showing some strange colors in his eyes. If it's for other girls, I'm afraid that if Yi Tian is so easy to suppress the Li family, and Han Xiaofeng is so scared, she will be more aggressive. However, Korean Yen can express her feelings and turn around to leave. It can be seen that she is really different from other girls. However, even so, Yi Tian just appreciates her, and has no other feelings. Let's go and have breakfast and try the local snacks in Beijing. I haven't eaten them for many years. I don't know if they have changed. Yi Tian stretched a stretch, too lazy to think about these things, toward Xiaoyuer and Yanbing said with a smile. Not for years? Have you been to Yanjing before? Yanbing heard Yi Tian's words, immediately grasped the key point inside, looked at Yi Tian, surprised. I've been. Yi Tian heard the sound, his face showed the color of emotion and bitter smile, slowly nodded, his face full of sigh. As he said, it's not the first time for him to come to the capital, but it has been many years since he last came to the capital, and his memory has been blurred. He remembered that before he was 6 years old, he often came to the capital. At that time, every morning, there was always an old man with a cane, a strong body and a bright smile, who took him by the hand, walked through the courtyard, took him to taste all kinds of special breakfast snacks in the capital, and taught him all kinds of eating methods with a smile. The old man, no one else, is his grandfather. My grandfather has 2 sons and a daughter. Apart from his mother's marriage to Nanhai, his 2 uncles are in the capital. At that time, what he looked forward to most every year was the time when he went to the capital every year. Because his grandparents died early, he seldom felt the love of the old people for himself. Therefore, in his eyes at that time, his grandfather who could meet any reasonable requirements or some unreasonable requirements was the best person in the world. Unfortunately, in the winter when they were 5 years old, the 3 members of their family, who were far away from Nanhai, received the bad news that their favorite grandfather died suddenly. Their family of 3, by plane, rushed to the capital. But none of them thought that after a funeral, it was such a strange uncle and aunt waiting for their family. My grandfather loved his little daughter, so in his will, he divided the legacy into 3 parts and gave her 1. But it was the legacy that became the fuse. The two uncles began to argue with his mother before they could wait for his grandfather to be buried. The two uncles were also weird, which meant that the mother was not often in the capital, so the legacy should not have the mother's share. Mother didn't want the family to lose their harmony, so she directly said at that time that she didn't need the inheritance and could give it to her two brothers. As for his father, he has no opinion about it, because they lived well in Nanhai at the beginning. Although they are not rich, they have no worries about food and clothing. But the mother's forbearance not only did not get the understanding of the two uncles and aunts, but made them think that the reason why the mother agreed so quickly was that her grandfather secretly left her more things. The next step was to make even greater efforts. Finally, after the funeral, his mother and father angrily took him away from the capital. Since then, they have never been here again. And Yi Tian's memory of the capital and the old man also completely stay in the winter with snow. However, in this world, there is no old man who will accompany him to have snowball fights in winter. It's really hard to be a good person in this world. Yan Bing listens to Yi Tian's story, sighs and shakes her head. Although she has been in the world of mortals these years, when she was on the mountain, she heard a lot about revenge and witnessed the fight between two members of the Tian gang sect for a panacea. Everything in the past is in the past after all. Since you have come to the capital, and you have nothing to do today, why don't we go to the shop where the old man took you to have breakfast, and then we go to sweep the tomb of the old man and offer incense to him. I think he will be very happy if he sees you coming. Xiao Yuer sighed a few times, then looked at Yi Tian and said, "Good." Yi Tian nodded without thinking. This time he came to Beijing, in addition to picking up Li Fangyuan and Han Xiaofeng and communicating with them at Yanhua University. Another thing he did was to visit his grandfather's grave for his parents, help him sweep his old man's grave, comfort the old man's spirit in heaven, and let him see what he looked like when he grew up. Soon, a group of people will drive, according to Yi Tian's memory, around the capital, looking for the shop where grandfather took him to have breakfast. After a few rounds, they finally found an old shop that had not been moved. It was the salted bean curd and fried dough sticks that my grandfather had brought him to eat. After so many years, the face of the boss and the landlady, although see the vicissitudes, but not much change, even the old locust outside the shop, but also just a few twigs. After sitting down with Yan Bing and Xiao Yuer, Yi Tian ordered 3 bowls of salted bean curd. With sesame oil, chili oil and mashed garlic, Yan Bing and Xiao Yuer taste delicious, but Yi Tian's taste is not the one in his memory. Boss, has your family changed seasoning? How do you feel the taste has changed? Yi Tian couldn't help looking up and looking at the landlady. He asked with a smile. Young man, our family is an old shop that has been open for 30 years. Whether it's seasoning or water for making tofu brains, it's never changed. Landlady's simple and honest smile, and then looked at Yi Tian, whispered, I usually do not seem to have seen you all. When Yi Tian heard this, he couldn't help laughing. He waved his hand to the landlady. After drinking the bean curd in one breath, he had some feelings in his heart. The taste of salted bean curd has not changed. What has changed is that there is no old man in his memory. After drinking the bean curd, the group drove to the cemetery and bought some incense, paper and foil, as well as some fruits and melons to offer sacrifices to the elderly. Grandfather, I've come to see you. Yi Tian looks at the familiar face on the tombstone. After a deep bow, he wipes away the dust on the glass layer and smiles. Yang Luqing, flying a kite, Yang Liuhua, pulling a top, Yang Luwang, kicking shuttlecock. Looking at that smile, Xinhao's ears can't help rippling with the voice of an old man's vicissitudes, and the voice of a child's tender but happy. He still remembers that when he came to Beijing in the spring of his childhood, his grandfather would take him to fly kites. When he came to Beijing in the summer of his childhood, he would take him to make top and pull top. In autumn, when the willows were floating and the leaves were falling, he would take him and his aunt in the hutong to kick shuttlecock. In those days, behind the old and the young, there would be a pair of young men and women like golden children standing there, smiling and watching the pictures of old and young playing. However, the spring is easy to die, the world of mortals is easy to grow old. Time has passed in a hurry, so many years have passed. That scene, let Yi Tian's canthus, can't help but have crystal clear slowly drop on the ground. If only time could go back to those spring, summer, autumn and winter. After a long time, Yi Genius slowly regained his mind. When he was calm, he saw Yan Bing and Xiao Yuer busy cleaning up the weeds that were more than half human height around the tomb. wiping the thick layer of dust that had accumulated on the tombstone for a long time. This scene, let him move, in the heart also has a anger. Judging from the situation of the tombs, it is obvious that no one has visited the tombs for a long time. Especially when he looked at the censer in front of the tombstone, he could see that there was no trace of incense burning inside. I'm afraid no one has visited my grandfather since my parents died. Ding-ling-ling. At this time, the mobile phone in Yi Tian's pocket suddenly rings. When he reaches out the mobile phone, he sees that it is a strange number in the capital. He thinks it is Qi Chuanxing's number, so he immediately connects it. But as soon as the phone is connected, he hears a voice that has been buried in memory for a long time. Xiao Tian, I heard that you have come to the capital? This voice is not his big uncle Mu Chen, which can be? Just, he really didn't expect Mu Chen would call himself, and also found his mobile phone number. You know, since the death of my grandfather, their family and their two uncles have basically broken off contact. Only when his parents died, he called them once, but none of them came, just as he had completely forgotten that they had a sister. When Yi Tian investigates the truth of his parents' death, he would rather ask Su Zhaoyun than call Mu Chen. The reason is very simple, because he knows that even if he calls Mu Chen, I'm afraid the other party will only sneer 3 times and say a few sarcastic words. As for now, the reason why Mu Chen called himself is probably extremely simple. It should be that he beat Li Fanyuan hard and made the Li family swallow their anger. They knew it. Therefore, his uncle, who had been out of touch in the past, suddenly remembered his nephew. Mu Chen? After a little silence, the corner of Yi Tian's mouth raises a sneer and calls his name directly. Ha ha ha, it's me. I'm your uncle. Mu Chen hears the sound, didn't say Yi Tian is impolite, on the contrary, he laughs happily, and then says, I'll let your second uncle talk to you. Xiao Tian, tell me about you. Why don't you call your uncles when you come to Beijing? We haven't seen each other for a long time. Let's have dinner and meet. Where are you? I'll pick you up as soon as the words fell. The voice of the second uncle Mu Mao came from the phone. Such a warm voice, let Yi Tian heart speechless to the extreme. So many years, he has never seen two uncles such a warm look. I'm sweeping my grandfather's grave. Yi Tian lightly responded. As soon as he came back, he went to sweep the old man's grave. We only went there at Qingming festival this year. If you speak earlier, let's go again. Qingming just came here. Hearing the sound, Yi Tian looks at Yin Bing and Xiaoyuer, who are busy. The smile on his face is even colder. If it is the tomb sweeping day, how can the tomb be desolate in such a short time? Moreover, how can there be no trace of ash in the candle stove? Yes, Xiao Tian is the most filial. I still remember that when the old man was alive, he liked to fly kites and fish with Xiao Tian. Unfortunately, he went early. At this time, over the phone, came the second Aunt Zhang Ying's false voice of emotion, followed by, she said, Xiao Tian, when you were a child, I still held you, do you remember? Of course I do. How can I forget it? Yi Tian smiles coldly, and his eyes are even colder. Zhang Ying did hold him, but it was a play for the old man to watch, and he pinched him and scolded him. The old man only knew how to be good to him, but not to his grandchildren. But in a year, not in the capital for a few days, her children are usually around the old people, and the old people like every child very much and never have any preference. Moreover, after she pinched herself and cried, she scolded her mother and said how to raise a child. A good boy developed a crying ghost. But now, these things have become her achievements. Is it because she thinks that her memory is so poor that she forgets all these things in the past? Oh, my God, you have a good memory. When I was a child, I knew that you are a smart boy. You must be promising when you grow up. Zhang Ying hears Yi Tian's words and immediately laughs happily. That laughter, very brilliant. It is estimated that she has long forgotten that she pinched Yi Tian at that time. Just remember that she held Yi Tian. Yi Tian sneers indifferently. The perpetrators are all like this. They only remember how good they are to others, but they don't remember how bad they are to others. They don't know how much harm they do to others. Yes, yes. Xiao Tian was a smart kid when he was a child. No wonder he is so promising when he grows up. At this time, Zhang Ying's words fell down, and along the phone, there came Mu Chen and others laughing. However, these people have no idea how harsh their laughter is to Tian. In fact, he doesn't care how these people treat themselves or their mother, but he cares about their attitude towards grandfather. When grandfather was alive, he was very good to Mu Chen and Mu Mao. He was also very good to his two aunts, and he took good care of their sons and daughters. He never gave any preference. He tried his best to provide them with the best he could. But after the old man passed away, these people turned a blind eye to the old man's grave and let the weeds spread and the dust spread. They completely forgot the kindness of their grandfather when he was alive. How could Tian forgive them for what they had done? Do you have anything else to do? Tianzhen didn't pay attention to these flattering words, but his voice was indifferent. If you want to listen to flattery, with his current strength and status, you can't hear all these flattering words, even if you listen to them for 3 days and 3 nights. Ha, Xiaotian, we just heard that you have returned to the capital. We all miss you very much, so we want you to have dinner at home. Mu Chen hears the sound, quickly receives the telephone, laughs. Miss me? Tian's silent sneer repeatedly, this word sounds, really is too ironic. If you think about yourself, why did you take your mother away from the capital? Why did they turn a blind eye to themselves after their father and mother died? These people, I'm afraid, don't miss themselves, but think that they can help them with the scene, or think that they can help them with something. No. Without any hesitation, Tian is ready to throw away a sentence. No time to kill these useless people. What's more, when we were at home 2 days ago, we found a lot of pictures of the old man and you, as well as the pictures of the 3 members of your family in Beijing. I think you have a good relationship with the old man. I'm coming to Beijing again. I'm going to show you these photos. But at this time, Mu Chen hastily added a sentence. Grandfather and his group photo? When Tian heard this, he was immediately pleased. When his mother brought him to Beijing to play, he and his grandfather did leave a lot of group photos. Unfortunately, after his grandfather's funeral, their mother and uncle fell out and left in a hurry. They didn't take those group photos with them. Later, my mother asked my uncle for those photos and some of my grandfather's relics, which were all coldly lost by my uncles. At that time, Tian thought that they were really lost, and he didn't know how they would stay with these things. Is it hard for these guys to have a little conscience? Xiaotian, whenever you have time, you can come and have dinner at home. Look at the pictures. Your cousins have grown up and want to meet you. If you have time, I'll drive to the cemetery to pick you up. Mu Chen see Tian silent, no Tian should be moved, quickly continue. I have time now, you come. Tian hears the sound, is silent a little, then to the Mu Chen over the phone, light way. He wants to see, Mu Chen in the heart still has some to miss grandfather, and whether is true still have some conscience. Okay, I'll be right there to pick you up. Mu Chen hears a sound, overjoyed, hung up the phone in a hurry. I hope you don't let me down so much. Tian put down the phone, the corner of his mouth is full of sarcastic smile, light way. Tian, whose phone? At this time, Xiao Zhuer looks at Tian's expression and asks curiously. My 2 uncles. Hearing this, Tian explains to Xiao Zhuer. They called you? Xiao Zhuer hears speech, immediately stare big eyes, can't help but wonder way. Just now Tian said that his parents and uncle had fallen out for a long time, and the 2 families had no contact. Unexpectedly, now they even found Tian's phone. I'm afraid they don't have to go to the 3 Treasures Hall. Tian shook his head with a smile, and then said, wait, they come to meet me for dinner. What do you 2 say? Of course we're going. Yan Bing and Xiao Zhuer look at each other and immediately miss the cableway. They also want to see this long broken relationship of relatives. Come to find Tian, what is the idea? Of course, in addition, they have another worry, that is, they are afraid that when Tian comes to Mu's house and sees his uncles and aunts, he will do something drastic in a rage. At that time, he can also stop them. Well, I'll invite you to see a free play. Tian smelled the words and nodded with a bitter smile. Then he began to help them clean up the weeds around the tomb and pull out all these things. Grandfather, I'll see if their good nature has disappeared. Don't worry. Now that I grow up, I will take care of myself. In the future, I will come to see you every once in a while. Everything is ready, Tian gently caresses the tombstone, slowly. In the middle of the tombstone, on the old man's black and white photo, the smile is still there. Suddenly, the wind blows over Tian's shoulders, as if the old hand is shooting Tian's shoulders when he grows up. A moment later, Tian takes Yanbing and Xiaoyuer to the entrance of the cemetery, waiting quietly. More than 10 minutes later, a Hyundai came running quickly. After the car stopped, a middle-aged man ran down from it. After staring at Tian, he immediately covered his face with a smile, stretched out his hands and strode to meet him. This middle-aged man is Tian's great-uncle, Mu Chen. However, today's Mu Chen is much older than he is in Tian's memory. His eyes are covered with wrinkles, and his head is also covered with white hair. Looking at the car he drives, it's obvious that his life in the capital these years is not so pleasant. Tian was not surprised by this, because he remembered that his father and mother had discussed two uncles. They were used to enjoying their own success. When grandfather was alive, they really lived a comfortable life. After grandfather died, they had no one to rely on and had to sit on. Xiaotian, I haven't come to the capital for such a long time, but I want to die my uncle. Mu Chen across the distance, he looked at Tian, the face of sigh, that look, don't know, but also think, he and Tian's relationship is very good. Well. Tian answered at will, nodded and said hello. Oh, Xiaotian, my uncle knows that he did a lot of things that made you unhappy before, but now it's different. My uncle has also changed. There is no overnight feud in my family. Don't share the same opinion with my uncle in those years. Although Mu Chen just enjoys his success, he is not stupid. Seeing Tian's expression, he still cares about those things in those years. He immediately takes Tian's arm with a sincere face, apologizes, and then says, let's go home quickly. Your aunt and they have made some of your favorite dishes when you were a child, waiting for you to taste them. Just beyond Mu Chen's expectation, this leaf day unexpectedly is to stand in the same place, grain silk didn't move, and smile pondering of looking at him. Xiaotian, what can I do for you? You are not still angry about what happened in those years. My uncle has apologized. Mu Chen sees leaf day this appearance, hastily way. You? Tian stares at Mu Chen's double eyes to see and then see, light way, forget what thing didn't do? Forget something? I haven't forgotten anything. Xiaotian, are you still angry with your uncle? I apologize to you. Mu Chen hears Tian's words, can't help but be at a loss, looking at him to doubt to ask, don't understand what Tian's words mean. It seems that you really forgot. Tian looks at Mu Chen's confused face. He can't help but smile coldly. Xiaotian, my uncle knows that he was bad to you before, but now I really regret it, and I sincerely apologize to you. Our family is rare to get together today, so don't worry about the past, okay? Your aunt and your cousins are all waiting at home. Let's go back quickly. Mu Chen's face is at a loss, but he thinks that Tian is still angry about what happened in the past. He accompanies his smiling face and keeps flattering him. Look at you, it's really completely forgotten. Tian looks at Mu Chen's appearance, shakes his head, looks back at the cemetery, and says faintly, when you come to the cemetery, don't you think about going to give your grandfather a stick of incense? When Mu Chen heard the news, he was stunned, and immediately, he was constantly complaining. When he saw Tian just now, his mind was full of how to flatter Tian and how to let him go back to Mu's home with him. However, he forgot that he came to the cemetery and gave the old man a piece of incense. To be exact, he had never thought of it since he left Mu's house. It's my uncle's fault. I'm so happy to see you. I'll forget about it. I'm going to give the old man incense. Xiaotian, you are so filial. No wonder the old man loves you so much. However, don't worry, Xiaotian. We haven't forgotten that the Four Seasons memorial service is in our heart. Mu Chen rushed to the leaf day to accompany a smiling face, then can't help but say, flurried then ran toward the cemetery. Grandfather, what do you keep? Tian looks at Mu Chen's appearance and shakes his head with a bitter smile, his face full of loss. He doesn't care about these people's attitude to himself, but only care about their grandfather's mind, but Mu Chen has obviously forgotten his grandfather. Your uncle is really unfilial. Even if he is like this, what do you mean to say about the 4 seasons sacrifice and sweeping? Who are these people? This kind of unfilial thing, even if it is to raise the placenta, is better than him. It's not only Yi Tian, but Yan Bing and Xiao Yuer are also full of indignation. If they don't worry that Mu Chen is Yi Tian's uncle, they all want to rush up and kick him. This guy is full of train running and gibberish. If it's really 4 o'clock sweeping, there will never be a shortage of weeds in the tombs? Is there not even a little ash in the censer? This kind of person should be the son of man. Yi Tian, don't go to Mu's, let's go. Yan Bing, indignant toward Mu Chen's tire, kicked a foot, looking at Yi Tian, the road. No, I'm going to have a look. I want to see where they've come from. Yi Tian shook his head lightly and said in a deep voice. He wants to go to Mu's house to get back the photos, but also to see how cold-blooded these people are. Xiao Tian, I'm back. At this time, Mu Chen ran down from the cemetery mountain in a hurry. When he saw Yi Tian, he immediately showed a smiling face and followed him closely. He seemed to feel that it was not right to smile. He quickly restrained his smile and sighed, it's still you who are filial. I just saw that the old man's tombs have been cleaned up, and there are so many offerings. You grandson, you are better than us. The children are good friends. It's not in vain that the old man loves you. Let's go to Mu's house. Yi Tian's manner is indifferent. After a light sentence, he opens the door and sits in the front passenger seat. Although Yan Bing and Xiao Yuer are full of gas, they also sit in the back row when they see Yi Tian's action. Who are these two? Mu Chen, Xiao Yan Bing and Xiao Yuer look at each other. They lower their voice and look at Yi Tianxuan curiously. My friend. Yi Tian lightly answered a sentence. Well, Xiao Tian, your friend is our friend of the Mu family. Welcome to the Mu family. There are more people and more people. Mu Chen laughs happily, then starts the car in a hurry. With the shaking of the car body, he goes on the road and gallops towards Mu's house. Just, Mu Chen looks at Xiao Yuer and Yan Bing in the back seat from the rearview mirror, and then looks at Yi Tian, full of envy. In his mind, Xiao Yuer and Yan Bing are regarded as Yi Tian's girlfriends. Having such 2 beautiful girlfriends also shows that Yi Tian is really capable now. Although he couldn't understand how this child with a dead father and no mother suddenly became so promising and capable, and even stamped his feet, the Holy Family in the capital had to swallow his breath when he packed it up like that. He understood that this was a great opportunity for the Mu family. As long as Yi Tian's strength and position are up to his thigh, his fingers will be enough for the Mu family. Moreover, Yi Tian's uncle and aunt, no matter which big family he goes to in front of in the capital, everyone has to look up to him. 3 points. The more you think about it, the more beautiful Mu Chen is. He has a bright smile on his face. Even if Yi Tian is not around, he wants to hum a tune for a while. A moment later, the car slowly stopped in front of an old 3-story villa. The iron railings at the entrance of the villa are covered with blue morning glory. When the sun comes down, there are butterflies dancing gently. It's very beautiful. This scene reminds Yi Tian that many years ago, he picked a blue morning glory and swung it gently in the air, hoping to attract butterflies to fall, while an old man stood by, carrying his hands and smiling at the scene. But now, morning glory is flourishing, but the old man is no longer. After your grandfather passed away, he left this house to us. It's the same all the time. It hasn't changed much. Please come in and have a look. Mu Chen sees Yi Tian's appearance and knows that Yi Tian is thinking of the past memories. He quickly laughs and says in a loud voice towards the yard, everyone come out quickly. Yi Tian of our family is back. Ah, Xiao Tian has come back and grown into a big and small man. My aunt almost didn't recognize you. Yes, Xiao Tian is really handsome now, much better than our family. When Xiao Tian was a child, I could see that he must be able to accomplish great things. Xiao Tian, you really are. If you come to the capital, you won't come home. Let the second uncle have a look. Cousin, you are so handsome. Listen to my mother all the time, cousin, you are the most handsome in our family. I still don't believe it. Today I saw you, you are much more handsome than my brother. Cousin, I haven't seen you for several years. You've changed a lot. My cousin almost didn't recognize you. When I was a child, I took you running around with me. Mooch in a language falls, along the villa, immediately spread a noisy voice, followed by, a large group of people ran out from inside, everyone's face, with a brilliant and warm smile, that appearance, don't know, really want to think is a long time no see good relatives. This voice of warm greetings, a happy face, Tian heartwaves of nausea. When my grandfather died, these people left the capital for the sake of their family property. Except for the death day of my grandfather, they would not set foot in the capital again. When their parents died, they didn't care, just like they didn't have his sister or nephew, and even didn't attend the funeral. Today, he is famous in the capital. These people finally remember that they have a nephew like him, and they beautify everything they did to him when they were young. It's true that rich people have distant relatives in the mountains. But I don't know. Take the cousin who said he took him out to play when he was a child. It's true that he took him out to play. What he can do is to lead a group of children in the hutong to smash them on him with snowballs. Listening to him wailing, he laughs when he was a child, they could see that he was a big man. Did they not forget the vicious nicknames of short-lived ghost and debt collector he heard in their mouth when he was a child, and the ferocious faces when he talked about them? All this, Yi Tianben has forgotten in the depth of memory, but today to see the faces, hear the voice of passionate words, but let those memories involuntarily and clear incomparable emerge in his mind. No, 2 people are missing. Yi Tian's eyes slowly swept over everyone in the field, and finally found that there were 2 less people in the crowd. Where are Uncle Yang and Aunt Yang? Immediately after, Yi Tian looks at Mu Mao's face and inquires lightly. If there is anyone else in the Mu family that he misses, there is no doubt that they are Yang Bo and Aunt Yang, who were once invited by his grandfather to take care of the family's food and clothing. When he was a child, he was wronged in his grandfather's family and didn't want to tell his mother that Aunt Yang made some delicious snacks to amuse him. Sometimes, when his cousins bullied him, he was stopped by Uncle Yang, who had a strong sense of justice, telling them that they were brothers and a family, so they couldn't do it. He remembers that his grandfather had promised Yang Bo and Aunt Yang that the 2 of them, who were unable to bear children, had worked hard for the Mu family all their lives. The Mu family would not only give them enough salary, but also let their children take care of them when they grow old. But now, he didn't expect to see all the people he didn't want to see in Mu's house, but he didn't see the 2 people he wanted to see. Our family are all here. Why do you mention the 2 of them? Mu Mao was stunned and looked at Yi Tian in amazement. Obviously, he didn't expect that Yi Tian would suddenly mention these 2 people and lost his voice. Family? Yi Tian sneers. As far as he is concerned, Yang Bo and Aunt Yang are more like his family than these people. The 2 of them? When I was old, I was sent to the suburbs to provide for the aged, and I had a good life. Xiao Tian, please come into the house. Your 2 aunts have made you your favorite dish when you were a child. Go in and have a taste. Otherwise, the dish will be cold later. Seeing Yi Tian's appearance, Mu Chen stares at Mu Mao in a hurry, then pulls Yi Tian's arm and laughs. Suburban care? Yi Tian's eyes are bright. He still remembers that at the beginning, after his grandfather died, Yang Bo and Aunt Yang came to see their mother with a worried look on their face. But because their mother was angry with her uncle at that time, they didn't see them. When they left, Yang Bo and Aunt Yang took his hand and rubbed his head, telling him that grandfather had gone to a better world. At that time, he didn't understand why Uncle Yang and Aunt Yang were so sad when they left. But now, he already understood that when his grandfather died, Aunt Yang and Uncle Yang had already thought that when his grandfather died, the Mu family would no longer be able to accommodate them, so he wanted to go to his mother. But unfortunately, at that time, the mother, still angry, ignored the 2 old people. I'm afraid these people dislike that Uncle Yang and Aunt Yang are old enough to kick them out of the house? After all, they didn't even care about their grandfather's tomb, let alone the 2 helpless old people? Yes, come into the house quickly. They are living well now. You can rest assured, Xiao Tian. We didn't treat them badly. Xiao Lian is also in a hurry to laugh, played a circle. Xiao Tian is kind-hearted. After so many years, it's hard to remember them. Zhang Yang is also full of regret, constantly flattering Yi Tian, flattering him. Yi Tian directly ignores these words, and walks into the villa. He doesn't even look at Chao Lian and Zhang Ying. The smile on their faces suddenly solidifies. This boy, now his wings are really hard. He just came back and gave me a look. He didn't know how to respect his elders and what he didn't bring up. Chao Lian waits until Yi Tian enters the door, grabs Mu Chen's arm and shouts angrily. I don't think we can count on him anymore. We are more concerned about those two old people than we are real relatives. If we have no conscience, I have hugged him. Zhang Ying also murmured in a low voice, very upset. That's right. He didn't even look me in the eye. I thought about it for a long time. I took him to fight in the snow when I was a child. I knew before that he had no conscience. Now it seems that he is. This time, he may be shaking his prestige at us. Not only are these two people, Yi Tian's big cousin, but also his face is full of unhappiness and he mutters coldly. Be quiet. Before you say these words, think about what his identity is and what your identity is. If you can beat Li Fangyuan into that virtue like him, but the Li family dare not even say a fart, let alone shake their prestige in front of me, it doesn't matter even if they shit and pee on my head. However, you first feel the chest to think about whether you have that ability. What's more, I'll keep all these words in my heart. When he's gone, I'll never forgive you if he hears me and gets angry. Mu Chen listens to this disorderly voice, toward them coldly swept one eye, sink a voice to scold away. I mean, look at him well, I'll just say he's good, isn't he? Chao Lian hears the sound and mumbles a sentence, but looking at Mu Chen's cold eyes, she swallows the rest of the sentence back to her stomach, and responds in an angry low voice. These people, as expected, have not changed at all. But where do they know that Yi Tian's ear power is amazing now? All the voices of these people have fallen into his ears, and his mouth is full of sneers. Ah, Xiaotian, the restaurant is here. Come here and have dinner together. We haven't seen each other for so many years. We must have a good drink today, and let your cousin accompany you to have a few drinks. You two have a good talk about the past and the things when you were young. Mu Chen glances at the crowd, then walks into the living room in a hurry, looks at Yi Tian and laughs. Don't bother. Where's the album? Give me the album and I'll leave in a moment. Yi Tian toward Mu Chen like to see an eye, way. Ah? So soon? The food at home is ready. We haven't seen each other for a long time. Let's have a meal before we leave. Mu Chen Alang, then look at Yi Tian Dao in a hurry. Yes, Xiaotian, you haven't come back for such a long time. It's not easy for you to meet. I'll leave you to talk for a while. My aunts miss you very much. Although Chao Lian was still scolding Yi Tian, she was in a hurry when she heard that he was going to leave. She accompanied her smiling face and said, Yi Tian's big cousin is very incompetent. She also hopes that Yi Tian can help him find a good job to get more money without doing any work. How can she let Yi Tian go now? Cousin, it's not easy for you to come to Beijing once. Our family are finally together. If you leave like this, I think your grandfather's spirit in heaven will be unhappy when you see this scene. Yi Tian's big cousin heard this, also piled up a smile. Looking at Yi Tian, he said with a smile. Yes, your grandfather likes to have a lively family together. If the spirit of his old man sees our family together again, he will be happy. When Zhang Ying heard this, she was smiling and flattered. It's not just Chao Lian. She has a similar idea. The two daughters of the family are waiting to be married, but they all want to marry into a rich family. But the rich family doesn't like their Mu family. But Yi Tian, that's different. A cousin who makes the Li family not dare to be offended, and his two cousins, even if Shu Beiji becomes an elite, are also golden branches and jade leaves. Even if she is a big family, she can enter as soon as she wants. By then, she will be a rich wife. Who did you just say? The Leaf Day hears a sound, the corner of the mouth suddenly peeps out a smile, light way. Yi Tian, angry. And very angry. Yan Bing saw the smile on Yi Tian's face, and his look was immediately awe-inspiring. She has a lot of contact with Yi Tian. She knows that when Yi Tian's face shows this smile, someone will suffer. The happier she laughs, the worse others will suffer. Your grandfather. Chao Lian and Zhang Ying don't know, still accompany smiling face, Wei. Grandfather? Hearing this, Yi Tian's smile became more and more brilliant. After glancing at them, he said coldly, You have the face to talk to me with his old man? Tell me, who gave you this face? How dare you have the face to talk about me with him? Who gave you the face? Yi Tian's two loud words made the whole Mu family fall into a dead silence in an instant. Everyone looked at Yi Tian with astonishment. They knew that Yi Tian had resentment towards everyone in the Mu family, but they didn't expect that the resentment was so deep that it was amazing. Xiao Tian, have you gone too far? Isn't your aunt right? Doesn't your grandfather just like a happy family together? Mu Chen Zhang, then somewhat a loss of looking at Yi Tian, the way. That's right. What did I say wrong? Old man, you are the only one qualified to mention it. Can't we mention it? Is old man's wish all the time is that our family can be together? What's wrong with me saying that? Do you care so much about your grandfather and still treat us like that? Not only is Mu Chen, Chao Lian is also pressing the anger in the heart, is very dissatisfied with Yi Tian Dao. Because you don't deserve it. Yi Tian's mouth with an indifferent smile, glances at all the people in the room, cold road. We don't deserve it? Are we not the children of the old man? Why are we not worthy? Xiao Tian, why do you speak so badly? That is, you are the grandson of the old man, but we are his own grandson. Speaking of it, we are more intimate. If you are worthy, we are not? When I was a child, I took you out to play. Now that I'm promising, I forget everything. I have no conscience. It's not sure who was the match. I said, how did he come back with good intentions? It was just to show us his face. I've held you. Before I say these things are hard to obey, think about how we treated you before. Yi Tian's words fell down, and immediately it was like frying a pot. Whether it was Mu Chen or Chao Lian, or Yi Tian's big cousins, they were all filled with righteous indignation. Looking at Yi Tian, they yelled at each other. It looks like they have suffered a great injustice. Haha, did you hold me? Then I ask you, who pinched me when you held me? My legs are pinched green, let my mother wipe tears for 2 days? Even so, still scold me, say I love to cry ghost, every day only know to cry, bad luck? My grandfather just said a few words to you, and then you turned your eyes on him. My mother was angry, but she wanted to argue with you. You also said that my mother complained first, maybe she pinched me on purpose, and then looked at you? Aunt? Haha, joke take me to play? I ask you, who is leading a group of children in the hutong to hit me with snowballs, and some snowballs are wrapped with stones, which makes me cry. They still don't stop, and even put snowballs on me. If it wasn't for Yang Bo, what would I look like? Big cousin? Haha, rubbish in you, children? You also know that you are children. Touch your conscience. Do you deserve to say these 4 words? How long have you not seen and managed the grave of grandfather? How long has it been since I ignored it? Is the grass on the tombs and the empty censer what you should have at 4 o'clock? You are stupid. Don't think everyone is as stupid as you. Uncle? Ha, unfilial beast. Yi Tian hears the sound, the color of the sneer on the face is more thick, the vision is chilly one by one after looking around the crowd in the field, sink a voice cold chide way. One voice, one sentence, let Mu family all quiet down, everyone silent, look hard to see the extreme. Well, that's it. What's the big deal? People say that they are open-minded and broad-minded. Even when they were young, they remember things so clearly. Even if they have some abilities now, they will finish it sooner or later. Chao Lian curled her lips and murmured disdainfully. Bang! But almost at the moment when her voice fell, Yi Tian suddenly raised his hand, showed his cloud photography hand, pulled Chao Lian from the ground in the air, and hit the wall in the distance heavily. Ah! Where did Chao Lian suffer such a heavy injury? When she fell on the wall, she felt as if she had broken up. She collapsed on the ground and made a series of howls like killing pigs. This scene let Mu family all directly look silly. They didn't expect that Yi Tian would hit people. What's more, Yi Tianming was far away from Chao Lian just now. But even so, as soon as he raised his hand, he pulled Chao Lian from the ground and smashed her on the wall. This hand is really incredible. This makes them can't help but doubt that the Yi Tian in front of them is not the Yi Tian before. Yi Tian, how can you do this to your aunt? Mu Chenlang after a long time, just whole body shiver of point to leaf day, angry voice big shout away. I never said I was big. Besides, didn't she just say that I'm a person without a tutor? Who dares not fight without a tutor? Yi Tian looks at Mu Chen, light smile, cold voice way at Mu Chen excites Ling Ling to beat to shiver, just like looking at ghosts, looking at Yi Tian. Chao Lian's voice was very small just now, but he didn't expect that. Even so, Yi Tian still heard those words. What's more, she said that I remember things clearly when I was a child. Yes, I do remember very clearly. I still remember how you forced my mother to leave the capital when my grandfather died. When she got on the plane, she coughed blood and cried all the way with me. Not only when I was a child, but also when I grew up, I remember very well. Where were you when my parents died? Don't you keep saying that my grandfather hopes to have a harmonious and happy family? Where were you then? At this time, Yi Tian's eyes slowly passed Mu Chen, and then fell on the face of other people in Mu's family, word by word. With this sound, everyone in the Mu family was blue and white. They know that Yi Tian is angry, but they feel that as long as they apologize, Yi Tian will surely forgive himself. But they really didn't expect that Yi Tian didn't plan to let them go so easily. To be exact, Yi Tian didn't want to reconcile with them this time, and he didn't intend to let them touch any light. What he came back for was one thing. He wanted to get justice for those things in the past, for himself, and for his dead grandfather and parents. You're smiling at me now. Do you think I don't know why? It's not because you think I'm promising now and I can bring you benefits, so you want to use 3 or 2 good words to let me forgive you, and then enjoy the benefits I bring you with peace of mind. Yi Tian's eyes are indifferent, looking at the crowd, and the sneer and sarcasm at the corner of his mouth are getting stronger and stronger at this moment. Finally, he has a faint taste of playing. Have you ever thought about it? Why should I let you enjoy the benefits I can bring you? Because of your attitude towards my grandfather, my parents, and me? Do you deserve it? Do you deserve it? The last 4 words, like thunder, immediately made everyone feel their heads buzzing, and their eardrums seemed to burst. In the same way, this sound directly points to their innermost hearts and interrogates their souls. What did they do to Yi Tian? Is it the bullying of childhood, the forcing of his mother out of the capital, the indifference of his parents after their death, and the indifference to the cemetery? Now that he has a strong strength and has come to the fore, they are eager to pick up the so-called blood relatives and play the so-called family name. They want to touch his light and change their lives? All these, why they understated as sorry can be erased. Similarly, why do they think that they can enjoy the achievements Yi Tian has now? They are Yi Tian's relatives, but although they are related by blood, are they really close? What qualifications do they have? They don't deserve it. Yi Tian, even if you are angry in your heart, you don't have to talk so hard, do you? Anyway, we are all your elders. Is your attitude appropriate? And don't think that when you're young, you're very proud. You still have a long way to go in life. Mu Chen's face is green and white by Yi Tian's words. After biting his teeth for a long time, he looks at Yi Tian and shouts angrily. Shuabang Yi Tian Zhen didn't want to spend a word with Mu Chen. He raised his hand. In an instant, the cloud camera picked up Mu Chen and hit him on the wall not far away. Ah! In an instant, there came the sound of a lot of heavy objects falling on the ground, and the shrill howl of Mu Chen. This is the same scene as Chao Lian, which makes the crowd completely quiet in an instant. Everyone looks at Yi Tian in horror and can't say a word. Especially his cousins, who are against their heads, dare not have Yi Tian look at each other in any way. Their legs are shivering. I'm afraid that if Yi Tian makes a little more effort, they will fall on their knees or pee in their pants. You are my elder? You deserve to teach me how to be a man. What qualifications do you have? What's the matter? At least, I'm qualified now. But when did you have such qualifications? Yi Tian's eyes slowly glanced at Mu Mao, Zhang Ying and others, and said in a cold voice. All around, silent, drooping his head, wished to clip his head in the crotch, for fear that Yi Tian would stare at him, also suffer such torture. Where is my photo album with my grandfather? Bring it here. Yi Tian looks at the crowd, sneers, and then says faintly. Hearing this, Mu Mao looks at Yi Tian and excites Ling Ling to shiver. Then he runs to the living room in a hurry, takes out a photo album and hands it to Yi Tian. Yi Tian opened the album and immediately saw several photos of the old man holding himself with a smile on his face. At that time, the old man's back was still very straight. If the sky fell down, he would carry it. This is... But after turning over 2 pages, Yi Tian's face suddenly showed the color of uncontrollable excitement. In this album, there is a group photo of Yi Tian, his grandfather, and his parents. After his parents died and the company went bankrupt, Yi Tian had only one picture with his parents in his hand. Unexpectedly, there was a picture of him with his grandfather and his parents when he was a child. The precious picture is self-evident to Yi Tian. You left these photos, is the biggest creation in your life. I am in a good mood now, do not want to see you again. Yi Tian stretched out his hand and gently stroked the faces in the photos. His eyes were moist. After a long time, he looked up at Mu Mao and others, and then said, Tell me, where are Uncle Yang and Aunt Yang now? When Mu Mao heard this, he trembled and opened his mouth. He wanted to say something, but he couldn't say it. Finally, he turned his eyes to Zhang Ying. Listen, it's said that they live in Lujiazhuang at the foot of Lingwu Mountain. They used to come to the capital from there. They came to see us a few years ago, but they didn't come later. I don't know. They are still here now. Maybe they have moved to another place. Zhang Ying hesitates and looks at Yi Tian with fear. They're both moving? 2 people in their 70s who have no children move? How do you say that? Yi Tianling snorts. As soon as she raises her hand, Zhang Ying immediately follows the sound and falls heavily on the wall, causing her nose to shed tears and howl like a pig. Don't you say you're in a good mood and don't hit people? Seeing this, Mu Mao looks at Yi Tian with his face full of grievances. He is not reconciled and says, I'm in a bad mood now. Can I change my mind? You garbage, if you don't clean up, I don't think my grandfather will close his eyes in Jiuquan. Yi Tianling snorts. As soon as he raises his hand, Mu Mao flies up and smashes down the wall. He falls down with his brother, sister-in-law, and wife. It hurts so much. Yang Bo and Aunt Yang, according to the way he remembers, probably estimate their age. Now they are both in their 70s. It was when they were frail and sick. They had no children all their life, so they took care of the little generation of Mu family as their children, because of the promise of their grandfather to provide for them. But now, listening to the meaning of Mu Mao and Zhang Ying's words, I'm afraid they have been driven back to their hometown. As for why Yang Bo came to find Zhang Ying a few years ago, he must have encountered some big problems. Otherwise, he would never lower his head as an old man. But looking at Zhang Ying's appearance, I'm afraid that even if Yang Bo lowered his head and waited for him, it was not help but sarcasm. At this moment, Yi Tian can't imagine how the 2 old people are now. He even hated himself for not coming to the capital earlier. If he knew these things, he would be better. However, he really did not expect that these people were so cold-blooded that even Yang Bo and Auntie Yang, who had taken care of them and their children all their lives, could be so cruel. After they were old and frail, they ignored their previous promises and drove them far away to live and die on their own. Schwa schwa schwa. It's not just their husband and wife, but Qinhao's quick action. There's one person in the room. The whole Mu family, all of them, flies upside down, and then falls to the ground, with tears and tears. At this moment, they almost regret their intestines. If they had known to invite Yi Tian back, they would not be able to get the light, but would be beaten. Even if they were killed, they would never dare to do so. If there's anything wrong with Yang Bo and Aunt Yang, I'll settle with you again. Yi Tian looks at these people with a cold hum, picks up the album, goes out of the Mu family with Yanbing and Xiaoyuer, and then stops a car and goes straight to Lujiazhuang. Lujiazhuang is located in the outskirts of the capital. It is very remote. Along the way, the more cars go, the worse the route is. The high-rise buildings disappear and are replaced by mountains and farmland. Although the capital is a place of wealth, it does not mean that there are no poor families here. Finally, they came to a mountain village, where chickens crow and dogs bark all the time. There are almost no young people in the village. Only some old people are smoking and chatting under the big locust tree at the entrance of the village, and some dirty children are chasing a ball and kicking around. This is a typical small village in the mountains, where only the old and the young are left alone in their empty nests, and the young are far away from their nests. The sudden taxi attracted a lot of people's attention. The people chatting with each other cast their eyes to this side one after another. Many old people's turbid eyes were full of hope, hoping that their children would come back. Some elders, I want to ask, is there a Yang Bo surnamed Jiang in our village? Where does he live? After getting out of the car, Tian looks under the locust tree, turns around and hands the driver a red ticket. After taking away a bag of soft Chinese, he tears the seal and sends one to the old people under the locust tree. Then he looks at them and asks with a smile. Yang Bo? There is no Uncle Yang in our village, but if you look for Old Man Yang, there is one. To the east, the only tile-roofed house is his. Several elders took Tian's cigarette and showed him the route to Yang Bo Hu. The leaf day hears a sound, originally hanging heart, immediately slightly relaxed a big breath. What he worried most about was that it didn't happen. Thank you, gentlemen. After nodding and smiling at the elders, Xinhao hurried to the east of the village. Old Man Yang has no children. Why did someone come to him all of a sudden? Looking at Tian's back, a hunchback man turns his mouth and takes a cigarette. He turns his head to look at his companion and murmurs in bewilderment. Beside him, the faces of all the people were at the same loss as him.